We're all good. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Nice to see you all here. Welcome to the Cambridge Community Board November meeting. Am I on, Veronica? This? Yeah, it doesn't sound okay. Yep. Okay. We always start our meetings with a karakia, so I'll do that now. E te atua kaharawa, ho mai ki a mātou ti kaha. Ki te whai atu I ngā huarahi tika, mo tēnei hui I tēnei rā, tihei Māori ora. Right, let's get stuck into our meeting. It's nice to see so many folks here with us. This is our last meeting for the year, so it's really great to see you all. Right, any apologies? I see that we're all here, so no apologies, which is good. Disclosures of members' interests. I'd like you to think particularly around our discretionary funding. Alana? Life Skills Toy Library. Elise, any for you? Okay. So are you declaring that interest or are you just transparency? Okay. All right. Sue? I'll come back to you. Just have a little quick look. For transparency, although I'm not sure it's an interest, I do have one child at Cambridge Primary, but I'm not in the PTA, and the event that they're fundraising for is like a whole community event. So I'm not going to declare an interest, but I am just going to float that. Yes. Just grab your mic there, Sue.
Rotary Club of Cambridge.
Okay.
Thank you.
Philip.
Yeah, Cambridge Safer Community Trust, Kids in Need, and I'm a new member of Rotary, but haven't been inducted yet. It'll be next year.
Okay.
So I'll just put it out there, and then the quarry proposal.
Okay. Do you want to declare an interest for Rotary? Because
Well, I'll yeah.
Yep.
Put it
Okay.
out. Yep.
Andrew.
Yep. Hi, I sit on the Cambridge Safer Community Charitable Trust. And that's all. Thanks.
Hey. Mike, you're good. Okay. Right. Okay, that's good. Right, we will just get into our public forum. We've got quite a busy public forum this evening, as you can see. And we have quite a few people that listen to our meetings online as well. So welcome to all of them. In our public forum this evening, we've got a number of people speaking on their discretionary fund applications. And just a reminder that the decisions on those happen quite a way to the end of our meeting. So you're obviously welcome to stay, listen to our general business and stay for that, or you can pop home and listen to this meeting live as well, just whatever you would like. A reminder to those in the public forum that the speaking time you get is for you to present to the board and for us to ask you questions. Other members of the public cannot ask you questions. It's just between you and the board. Although in saying that, you're most welcome to email me after the meeting or give me a ring and I can help you get further information to your question. Right. So we're going to start with Kurt from Stevenson's, and he is supported by Arthur and Joe. Nice to see you all. And Kurt is speaking to us on the proposed sand quarry on Newcombe Road. Just a reminder that submissions on this resource consent have closed. The community board has put one in and that's publicly available if anyone would like to look at it. Welcome, Kurt. Welcome, Arthur. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us along. Yeah, thanks for this opportunity to speak. So yeah, submissions have closed. I just thought this is an opportunity to share some information, answer any questions that people have about the proposed sand plant on Newcombe Road. We do have a presentation prepared. It's on the screen behind me, so thank you for that. And I've just got some notes as well that I may refer to at times to cover off some of the talking points. But if we flip to the next slide, and do I have the? We don't have a flip. No. Yeah, so the first slide was just to cover off the naming side of things. The project actually started off as a a joint venture, which is where the name RS Sand comes from, and that now sits under Stevenson Aggregates. So Stevenson Aggregates is a subsidiary of Fulton Hogan, and we're a specialist aggregates company across Bay of Plenty, Waikato, and Auckland as well. So we've got 7 operations that we operate with sand plants and aggregate operations. Newcombe Road would be our 8th. And then we've also got a ready mix concrete company in Auckland as well. And owned by Fulton Hogan, which is a New Zealand owned contracting company. The location of the quarry is at 77 Newcombe Road. From the resource investigation, the intention is that we'd produce sand suitable for use in ready mix concrete, and also turf sand and landscaping products. So often, obviously, they can't change what's in the ground, but a lot of the thought and consideration goes into matching the resource quality with the use for it in market. So the big driver is around construction. So obviously, concrete's used for footpaths, roading, buildings, schools, shops, and that, and partner as well with development intentions in terms of supplying building materials. Some of the other products that might come is if there's fill sand, or known as pit sand at times, we need a bulk fill to raise an area. That's where those sort of products go into. So it's a 23 hectare area, and we're proposing a staged development, which we've got a slide on shortly. And the intention in terms of where it goes, generally the cost of transport for aggregates is high, so generally it doesn't travel too far. So a bulk of, I'd imagine, would go in the local market. Imagine times maybe pit sand goes into the Cambridge area for different projects, and then around the Waikato also, and potentially Bay of Plenty also. I think that's the key parts there. The other key point is we're asking for permission to extract up to 400,000 tonnes per year, and we expect a life of about 25 years at that rate. And there's other resources in the area that are expected to close shortly over the life of the quarry too. So it's about maintaining the supply of those construction materials into the market. This one. So I talked about the staged extraction. So I'm just going to turn my head a bit. So there's an area marked for the processing area. And the other key point is the areas that we extract. So the areas that it's staged, working through areas 1 to 5 sequentially. That's done to minimize the open area so that the farming area is maintained as much as possible. And when we've been through an area and we rehab that as well, that can then return back to grazing. The processing side of things is a wet process, which means there isn't any dust generated. There's no crushing involved. So generally we talk about a sand plant as opposed to quarrying, because it's more the sizing and separation of the sand qualities as opposed to needing to crush any materials. We've got a similar operation in Tuakau, near the river, but not extracting from the river. And I imagine it'd be a similar process, where it doesn't produce dust, very little noise as well. Something on that, Arthur? Sorry, you're okay? Yeah. Okay, sorry. And yeah, as mentioned before, the sand quality is a big important part when choosing a site. So it's not carte blanche, it's open a sand quarry anywhere. We need to target the resource quality. Okay, move on to the next slide. Yes, please. So one of the big discussion points around this application is the traffic movements. One of the key things I want to point out is that in consent application, we talk about movements and to 400, and we talk about 400 movements. That means 200 loads. So movement is one movement's going to the quarry, one movement away. So if we did 200 loads in a day, that'd be 400 movements. And the 400 movement number also is the peak that we want to allow for in case there's a busy project in the area operating at that time. Our average for the 400,000 tonnes a year of extraction would probably be more like 80 loads or 160 movements. Trucks range generally in size from carrying 10 tonnes to 30 tonnes, and the average is usually a bit over 20 tonnes. Usually it's actually higher for sand quarry, which means less movements, but at an average of 20, we'd expect the average truckloads going out would be around 80 or 160 for movements. And the other important point around that as well is it's going to be going to different locations, whether it's south along the expressway, north into Cambridge, Te Awamutu, or up 1B as well. So not all the traffic would be along the same route. It would be spread out. So that sort of 160 movements or 80 loads a day doesn't mean it's coming through the middle of Cambridge. They're taking different routes. We do have more detail on that too in our application if we want to get into it. Next slide. So as part of our consent application as well, we're proposing 12.5 hectares of habitat restoration along the stream, along the Karapiro stream to be restored. So that's stream habitat, and as well as wetland enhancement. And from a visual point of view, is planned to have a 3-metre high bund that we planted along the edge of the site, as well as with native trees on it as well. So it's not just about taking any bush or trees out. There's a significant amount of value that's added from a biodiversity point of view. So this was another concern as well around silica dust, and the big thing with the sand process is that it is a wet process. So the sand's mixed with water to create a slurry, which is then separated into density into its different sizes. And when it drops in a pile on the ground, it's wet. One of the opportunities for dust to be generated is there's vehicle movements, trucks and going across a path, and the common dust control we use for that is either with sprinklers or water carts to keep that damp with water to control that. The site does have the Karapiro stream along one boundary, so there's a 35-metre native enhancement zone along that edge, which helps keep the quarry activities away from the stream, ensure there's no runoff sediment into the stream, as well as stormwater management to manage any local stormwater generation. Water sources from pumped from bores for processing and dust suppression, as well as water then collected in settling ponds and reused as much as possible, so that to minimise our water take. That's a few points there. So the other point that has come up as well, and that I want to point out, is quarrying's a very local business. We often need the support of local contractors. For example, the equipment supplier for our loaders, they've got a workshop up the road in the area that uses local staff. There's earth moving contractors in the area as well, local to Cambridge, as well as typically our employees are from the local area as well. And then there's offshoots from the other benefits too. So trucks picking up the sand, usually the local cartage operators and things like that as well. So a fair bit of there's a fair bit of money spent as well as the investment, but operating costs as well, and which is in the local area. I think that's key points.
That's great, Kurt. Are you happy for us to go to questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay. Before I open up for questions, I just want to introduce you to the board members and introduce everyone to them. I normally do that before, but I forgot. So for the Cambridge Community Board, for the Cambridge Ward, we have Elise Badger, Sue Milner, Alana Mackay, and myself. And our rural representative is Andrew Myers. And then we have 2 Cambridge councillors that sit on our board as well. For the Cambridge Ward is Philip Coles, and for our Mangatotiri Rural Ward is Mike Montgomery. And then we have Waipa District Council staff and governance staff here as well. So, right, questions?
Nice to meet you.
Who'd like to start? Andrew.
Thanks for that. I've just got a couple of questions and no set order. After 25 years consent, what would the site look like, or how would it be reinstated if that was the case?
The intention at the moment is to reinstate it back to farmland, so take the sand level out and reinstate it how it is, with some slopes around the edges to tie into the modified from the natural landform.
The farm that was sold was bigger than 33 hectares and the processing site combined. Do you have future ambition to mine sand from further parts of the property or not?
Not at this stage.
So that's a maybe.
Well, who's to say in 25 years?
Yep. The trucks, you can get a unit load, which is a truck and trailer. We can get a truck only. On your current quarries, what sort of mix would that be? And considering this is quite close to town for local use, it might be more truck only, would you say?
Yes. And those truck onlys will be delivering to the Cambridge market, which the trucks will come from another quarry, so they'll be going through Cambridge anyway. But those numbers are in our truck movements. So you can imagine that Cambridge North growth cells are being filled from Kaipeki Road. They're coming through. They may come from us. They may still come from Kaipeki Road in the future. And because they're only 10 tonnes, they're a third of a truck and trailer. So there's 3 of them for every truck and trailer.
But sorry, to answer that, the other half of that is generally to the concrete plants, for the concrete sand that's generally truck and trailers.
You gave a number of 200 loads a day. Is that a truck and trailer load?
No, that's truck movements. That's 400 movements as a peak, and that will be through a project like Cambridge to Porori. When it's being done, we need a peak. We can't actually sit there and say, sorry, we've done our 150 truck loads today. You'll have to wait until tomorrow. And they will only happen on a very rare basis when there are big projects happening.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just wondering if it was 200 unit loads, it might be 300 truck movements a day if it was a breakup of truck only and unit loads.
No, it's truck movements. They don't determine whether it's a truck and trailer or a truck. It's average.
And one more question is, to trucks having to travel north, as your chart showed, that's a high proportion of the trucks leaving the site. What's your thoughts about using the turnaround at Hydro Road, like travelling south on State Highway 1, rather than going through the town of Cambridge?
We have used that for some of our clients' vehicles that we can determine they will use it. I think it's a stopgap measure. I don't think it's a good permanent measure, but I think the NZTA are getting on with doing something a bit more serious now.
I mean, we'd love your support for on-ramps there in the future.
We'd love on-ramps as well.
Great. Any further questions, board members? Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming, and that's some good information for us and the wider community as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other point as well.
Oh,
if,
please.
Anyone was interested, you're welcome to visit our Tuakau operation
Okay.
as well to get a feel for what the sample looks like.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Arthur. Thanks, Kurt. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Right. We'll move on to our discretionary fund application. So Sandy, welcome. Hi, come and. Yes, in the hot seat. Just make sure you push that purple button, then we can hear you.
Alrighty. So hi, thank you for having us. I'm from Cambridge Life Skills and I'm sure a lot of you already know we're the counselling service in Cambridge and we've been in operation for 32 years. Yeah, we're getting pretty old now, lots of grey hair around, but lots of experience too. And so what we've been able to do in that time is provide free professional counselling to tamariki rangatahi who attend the Cambridge public schools only. And so we basically, our staff move around the different schools. Referrals can come from anyone. And this year so far, we've had 170 referrals. And so what that means is the referral comes in and then there's a counselling process that happens for that client. So it could be between 10 or 20 sessions, depending on what the issue is. So yeah, we've had 170. So the need is definitely there. And a lot of our work is really about seeing young people resourced at the point of need that they have socially or emotionally so that they can work through whatever the challenge is. Often with children, it's not something they've chosen. It's a situation that they find themselves in. And by resourcing them at the time, it means they can get on with their learning because while they're emotionally dysregulated, the thinking working part of their brain doesn't work. So by resourcing them at the time and their whānau family, we can make a difference so that they can get on with their learning and then become happier little school citizens and social beings. And obviously that benefits all of Cambridge. So yeah, our work is never ending. We have a never ending queue, which is, I guess, a positive. Some people say to me, oh, isn't that sad that so many kids need to be referred? And I think, well, Cambridge is really fortunate to actually have our service. We're an incredibly unique service. And we like to think that we're part of the solution, not the problem. And yeah, so happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Sandy. Any questions for Sandy about our application? Yes, Silly.
Thanks, Sandy. I just wondered if you had any comments on the trend of the number of referrals that you've seen. You mentioned 170. Is that a high number compared to previous years? Or?
Pre-COVID, we were nudging just over 200.
Okay.
But where we're at 170 at this point in the year is pretty average for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions for Sandy?
No, just not here.
Well,
No.
Sorry.
No. I just want to congratulate you on your amazing work in 32 years. That's fantastic. So, well done. And it's turn back, just congratulations on your work. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Any further questions? No, great. Thank you so much, Sandy.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Sorry, put Alana here. Sorry for put the right names for the right thing. Right, Kathy. See you later. Thank you, Kathy. You don't have to go for this time, just when we do our deliberating later. Yeah, thank you. Hi, Kathy.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm going to make this snappy because poor Eileen couldn't make it tonight, so I've jumped in for her. So I'm Kathy Rawlings and I work alongside Eileen Hawkins at Cambridge Neighbourhood Support. Both Neighbourhood Support and the Community Patrol are operated by the Cambridge Safer Community Charitable Trust. As an organisation, we aim to create safe, resilient and connected community. Our campaigns support and promote a positive culture that results in strong connections, emergency preparedness, safety and well-being for Cambridge neighbourhoods. Currently, we have our Capable Communities campaign, which focuses on building resilience to emergencies. With your previous support, we have also been able to offer heavily subsidised first aid courses. These have been well received, and although we have had smaller groups than initially anticipated through illness and people's timetables and holidays and things, the rollout is taking a little longer than we planned. However, we will continue to offer these in the new year as Cambridge residents are still really keen to attend. And we've opened that up to anyone over 14, and we've had a really good mix of people attending. We also continue to offer our Manaaki Children's Citizenship Program, which has been aimed at year 3 and 4 students. But we have adapted this program to also deliver it to some of our year 5, 6, 7 and 8 students. In 2025, we hope to launch our Connection campaign to encourage networking and connections among those living nearby. This initiative has been driven by a New Zealand government statistic from 2021, which reported that over 43% of our population feels lonely. We know we're making a difference. People tell us regularly. We see our social media followers growing, and we're getting good attendance at our rural and neighbourhood events that we're holding. A very important part of our success as an organisation and with our campaigns is our member database. We've recently, with your support again, invested time and money to ensure it is current and it's accurate. This database can now be used by New Zealand Police and other emergency services for urgent communication to be sent out to residents in emergencies. We give a lot of thought to our grant applications, which are time-consuming and require meticulous planning to avoid overlapping requests. Today, we request $2,000 towards operational costs. This will enable us to keep the database current, as it will quickly become outdated and ineffective without ongoing funding for a person to maintain this task. Previously, we had thought we could recruit a volunteer for this role. However, it requires considerable training for them to learn in Foodle, which is our computer program system. The person also needs a special skill set, including patience, clarity, attention for detail, problem-solving abilities. As such, we believe we will need to financially compensate them for their work. In closing, we are very grateful for all the support we have received in the past. We want to ensure we are aware that every application is carefully considered to provide the best return of investment for our community, maximising the positive impact for every dollar received. Thank you for your continued support.
Any questions?
Since the database has been together, has it been used by the police?
We have sent out notifications to different neighbourhoods of things, especially around burger theft of cars, or if the police have said, look, there's been that we're noticing a pickup in vehicle thefts or shoplifting or things, we can actually target a specific area rather than bombarding people that it has no relevance to. So yes, it is.
So do you send them, or does the police send
We
them?
send them
You
out.
send them. So the police will let you know,
Yes.
can you please send it to these?
Yeah, we've got a
people?
really
Okay.
good relationship with Deb and the news agent, and Deb Hound sends them to us.
And how do you get people's details? Is it a door knocking thing, or?
It's a combination. We have our member sign up forms that they can do it digitally via our website, or they can do it in person. It just depends if we're out at an event. So sometimes we'll go to the Cambridge Market, or it might be, we've been down at the fair, down at the Whitechurch Fair.
Okay,
We do some door knocking.
okay.
It really is a mix, and it just depends whether there is an established group already in the neighbourhood
Right.
that have just got some new members, we might target those, or if it's not established at all, it'll be a new, we might go door knocking with someone in the neighbourhood that wants to get engaged and set up a group.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? No. Thank you, Kathy. That was great. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And Sue, welcome. Sue Lyon from Children's First Charitable Trust. Nice to see you.
Kia ora koutou. Just on behalf of Children First Charitable Trust, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity. I'm here on behalf of the trust. The trust has been going for 11 years now, based in Cambridge, and it was formed because of the concern that teachers, a number of teachers had about the emotional and mental well-being of the children in primary schools. So a charitable trust was formed, and for the last 11 years, we've provided resilience programs in primary schools. It's been a whole process to set up, but we actually work in collaboration with Cambridge Life Skills as well. So a number of years ago, we came up with, Sandy and I came up with a memorandum of understanding that was sent out to all schools in Cambridge. And so the process is that schools understand that the program that we provide, which is called the Being My Best Resilience Program, if children are starting to be at risk, then they can be referred by their teacher or by their parents to participate in a small group situation. I actually facilitate the program. I've actually written the program myself. And this is the workbook that the children have. I did it in collaboration with an educational psychologist. And so this program has been in schools. This is the 8th year. And so children that are starting to be at risk, they come into this program. Those children that have had, you know, trauma or loss of a parent or need that extra support, then they get referred to Cambridge Life Skills, because we decided to do that because there were so many children needing support that sometimes children were coming to the Being My Best program and they were also getting counselling from Cambridge Life Skills. So because of the need, that's why we came up with a memorandum of understanding. So schools in Cambridge know the process. They can either refer them to this program, and if the need is greater, then they go to Cambridge Life Skills. Or if they've been through this program, then they still need that support, particularly one-on-one, then they can be referred to Cambridge Life Skills. So the children come to me for around about 14 sessions, and they come once a week. Okay, and we go through, we look at all the different feelings that we get, what we do when we get feelings, how to regulate our emotions. We look at what happens to the brain when you get big feelings and how you can bring yourself back into the rationale part of your brain so that you can make better choices. We do relaxation strategies. We look at the thought, feeling, behavior process. So if you get a thought, that creates a feeling, and then you're going to display some kind of behavior or action. So then they look at the 2 ways that we can think. For the children, we say unhelpful thoughts, like the negative thoughts. If you're thinking, I can't do this, it's going to make you feel sad, worried, nervous, whatever it is, and then you're going to have some kind of behavior. And then they look at the helpful ways of thinking. And then we do lots of practical games, strategies. They work through their workbook and they learn how to change the way they're thinking, because if you can change the way you're thinking, you're going to change the way you feel, and then you're going to have a more confident, happy, you know, behavior and atmosphere. So we look at breaking things up into smaller steps when they're trying to achieve goals and try new things. We also look at throughout the book, and if you want me to leave one here for you to have a look at, you're most welcome to. We do discuss the different values or virtues that help us to be the best that we can be. So for example, respect, self-control, being responsible, independent, being helpful, kind, because all those kind of qualities actually in each session, they support the strategy that's being taught within that session. So not only are they learning practical everyday skills to help them build resilience and confidence and to help them feel more positive and happy, they're actually focusing on improving their own personal character. Okay, the children look at role models. They build a support team who are the people that they can go to when they don't know what to do. If they've got a problem, we cover bullying. So it's a lovely, wonderful program, and we aim to facilitate for the trust around 12 to 14 programs in a year. I also work, I'm a teacher, that's my background. I also work in other schools where I'm employed as a teacher, but the trust contract me to come and run these programs. But part of it is, which is a really important component is working with, working with the parents. So the parents attend 2 meetings with me where they learn the same strategies, how they can role model the strategies and how they can support their children at home. And we also work with the teachers so that they're getting it from me, parents and the teachers to help build the resilience. So, and thank you for the wonderful support that you've provided to the trust over the years. We do appreciate it. Yeah.
Great,
Thank
thank you. Right, questions? Anyone got a question? Philip?
Thank you. Thanks for coming. So do you work with the children in groups?
Yes,
At
correct.
the school?
Yes,
At the
correct.
schools,
Yeah,
right?
during
And-
school time.
And if they need individual help, then they get referred to life skills?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
once they've finished the program, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But usually,
But
because we try,
once they've finished the program,
yes,
or? if
well, it
you-
depends.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
might determine that through a program or at the start of a program.
Yeah, so as the way I've set it up in schools, the teachers know the criteria to look for. So, you know, maybe children with low self-esteem, they might have psychosomatic complaints like getting sore tummies, feeling sick. They might have difficulty building friendships. They might be very withdrawn. So these are particular signs that show the first stages of becoming anxious, all right? So we don't target, the trust doesn't target children that are already moving up into a higher area where they need help. So usually the teachers now know what to sort of look for, you know, what signs that the children are showing within the class. At times, if I feel that there's too much going on for that child, then I will ask for them possibly to be taken out of the program and that they need further one-on-one support. Yeah.
Thank you,
Usually
sir.
we've got it pretty well
Mm,
sorted.
Great. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming to present to us. We,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Would you
Well
like
done.
to, shall I
Thank
leave a
you.
book for you to have? a
yes,
look at?
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Being my best.
Mike, nice to see you again. Cambridge Men's Shed. You guys remember Mike came to speak to us, what was it?
Just
6
a year
months
ago.
ago? A year ago? Oh, gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so really, thank you for the opportunity
No
to
worries.
really bring you up to date on what's happened
Great.
during, it's been an incredibly busy year. I've got a couple of photographs which I can put round if you, okay. So yes, we came here to look for support a year ago and in December, I think, last year. February, we achieved our registration as a charity. And in May, we received council approval for a lease for the old dairy factory, a heritage building, which probably everybody knows and has driven past many times. It'll be a bit different if you're driving it past it now, I think you'll find. We started our cleanup a little bit before we signed the lease, but it seemed a decent investment. And since then, we've put in a floor throughout the whole building. We've lined the walls. We've renewed all of the windows, try and make it the whole place look a lot better. We've just received from the council consents for an accessible toilet. We felt that was important. And also for a small kitchenette where the guys who come can make coffee and heat up tea cakes or whatever it is they want to do. Power and plumbing are in, and I'm pleased to be able to say that we've just in the last few weeks topped the 60 members, and the inquiries are still coming in. So that's really reassuring. We always were very sure, and I think you were too, that there was a demand in Cambridge potentially, and it's proving to be the case. Down to brass tacks, the project fund we set up to try and achieve was $111,000. It's even hard to say. It's such a big amount, really. But we've been very successful. We've had a lot of support in the community, from charities, from friends, from just supporters who don't want to be named. But we've managed to raise just over 60,000 already. So we're well on our way to completion. It's going to be, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 months before we're in a position to start admitting gentlemen in to start using our equipment. We've still got to buy some equipment and install it, but we're pretty sure that in the early part of next year, we'll be up and running. Just for your information, we're opening on Saturday, the 7th of December for an hour between 12 and 1. So that if anybody's has gone past and has seen changes on the outside, it'll be an opportunity to see what's happened inside and to have a look round. I'm open to questions if anybody has any.
Yes, any questions? Sue, just put your mic on.
Sorry. I've got an old tricycle that I had when I was a child and it needs restoration. Can I bring it to you guys?
You can. Can you wait till next year?
Yes, I can wait till next year. But
You certainly can. We would hope to be recycling
lovely.
items and giving them new lives if we can.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Thank you. It sounds like the Antique Roadshow. Was it the Antique Road? No. What's the shed?
The repair shop.
The repair shop. That's the one.
Philip, did you have a question?
Yeah, so something's faulty, maybe me. It's fantastic what you've been doing there. I mean, just seen some of the photos inside, looks amazing. So some of the Cambridge residents, prior to getting this far with the Cambridge men's shed, were going to other men's sheds in other towns.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got any people from other towns coming to your men's shed that are showing interest to be a member? Or?
There are a couple of people who've rung up and said they are interested. Yes, from out of town. There's certainly one person who's come across from Te Awamutu, although I'm not sure they're going to stop going to Te Awamutu as well. We've had somebody from Matamata who comes to our shed. I think we'll see it happening once they can see a place where they can actually get involved and do things. All of those sheds are already up and running. It'll happen.
And I'm looking forward to the community open day. So it's fantastic. And
Right.
and it is amazing. You said how much funding you've got already. The support we get in our community is astonishing, isn't it?
We were just
In all sorts of
blown
ways,
away.
monetary rolling up sleeves.
Yeah. Oh, everything. Yes. There's just people have rung up and said, I don't know what I can do, but can I do something? It's great. Really good.
You've got 50 members and I'd class them as handymen. What help do they provide in the renovation restoration of the building?
You may have seen a couple of guys in photos. There's a core of still very active and skilled guys, probably 20, 25, who are turning up maybe 1, 2, 3 mornings a week and contributing. Yeah.
That enables you to offset costs in the
It certainly
job.
does. I don't even begin to think of what it might have cost if we'd had to bring in tradesmen.
Yeah. Well done.
Any other questions for Mike at all? Alana?
Thank you. I was just wondering, you mentioned it's a heritage building. Will you be applying to the Heritage Fund as well?
We're not so sure. We hadn't given that any thought, but it's an interesting idea.
Thank you, Mike. That was great. Thank you for coming.
Great.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Right, I've got 3 more discretionary funding applicants. So Greg Liddy from Urban Miners. Nice to see you, Greg. How are you? You've got your stuff? No,
Well, it's not here.
no, it's you.
It's me.
You're up
All right.
next. Yep.
Morning all. You've seen the paperwork, so it's going to be interactive.
Oh, I love this.
No need for me to read the paperwork again. We've done the hard work. You've all been down there, but just to remind you, they're a bit like cockroaches, aren't they, Factory? You're after a nuclear holocaust.
Yes.
Just think of what you got at home. That is what I want you to look out for. It's a nasty. That's a iPad battery, which is a nylon battery, which has gone corrupted. Yeah, it's all blown up. If you look at it level on. They're the ones that explode in aeroplanes. Or at home. And electric e-cycles are also the same one. So keep an eye out for those ones. But for example, this is the type of thing you get. Now we have to hand sort those into different types. Remember those ones from back in the day? There you go. Favorite. Remember these ones? We were starting, our supplier said that we had to put all of these individually stuck onto a piece of Duracell, the stuff you stick on your scorebook. That was the only way they would take them. We put our foot on the ground and said, no, that's just unacceptable. We can't do that. So we've convinced them we can put them in little plastic bags. They have to go to the guys, plastic bag. Computer batteries, then of course, all of these. Now in that handful there, without going through it any great measure, there are two different types. There's the standard issue Panasonic alkali thingy. We're sending nearly, 60 odd kilos, 65 kilos of those a month away for reprocessing at the moment on the figures on the paperwork there. Te Awamutu dropped off last month, Pack and Save, 60 odd kilos. Mitre 10 down the other end, which is we would pick up mostly here, over 100 kilos every 3 weeks, 4 weeks of just these little ones. But then to add some weight to it all, gentlemen, how many of those you got lying around the house? Of course, we all throw them away now, don't we? Because you can go down to Mitre 10 and buy one for $80. And that's the old generation NIMH battery, which only lasted 5 or so minutes. But now we've moved to Li-ion, which is the one with all the heavy duty. But no, that's lying around your house and you're going to put it in the blue bin and it's going to wander off to the dreaded landfill. Oh, we look after it for you. There's only one person really left in the country, unfortunately, that's manufacturing the batteries, a place called Phoenix. We get the quote in the thing for you. They've bought out just about everybody in the country and they're very sustainably minded, which is nice, which is good. The question would be, where do they go? There's 2 factories in Japan, they send theirs. One does fundamentally alkali. So they put those in the big machine, scrape it down, take the rare mineral, take the minerals, take the bare metals off. And then there's another factory that focuses on the Li-ion stuff. Unfortunately, if it's corroded, they can't do it because it's prone to explosion. But if it's, think of your laptop battery, you can do that one. So please, you've given us support over the last, since we've been going, 16 months, 2 years we've been going. We managed to pull these out. We haven't been sitting on our haunches. We've been to Mitre 10. We've been to another battery supplier, don't want to say. We've engaged with Phoenix and we've got some cost reductions from them. Te Awamutu, of course, have contributed as well. That's the Pack and Save one. Pack and Save at Te Awamutu can't really pick up those ones, unfortunately, because they've got that little slotty bin there. If you've been there, you've seen it, you walk in the door. Mitre 10 are wonderful. They'll, you have to give it to the front desk, they'll pick them up. So we pick up a whole stack of stuff there. And we sort it, pack it, and then send it off for processing. And as the figures say, this bucket here is 20 odd kgs. And so that's 67 odd buckets like that we've done in 16. Just in alkali. Just in these ones. Still got a lot of these. Any questions on our operation?
Great. Any questions for Greg?
Time.
Yes, Elise.
Thank you. Actually, after the last time you guys were here, I got out a milk bottle and put it in my fridge to collect all our batteries, and it was quite phenomenal, the volume of batteries we collected in our household, which otherwise would have just chucked in the bin.
Yeah.
You just don't have that awareness that actually we're throwing so many out, so it's
How
very
many
helpful. My question for you is, do you have plans to do other collection points in Cambridge?
So we,
beyond Mitre 10?
yeah, we're working on that. Mitre 10, we tried Cambridge Primary. Mike's not here, is it? We tried Cambridge Primary. We got 4 batteries over 3 months.
Okay.
That many after the e-waste day. So we've got to go, we've got to find something different on how to do it. We did start with the milk bottle container when we first started, if you
Yeah.
remember that, and we had a little sticker we used to stick on it. But that was a success. People just can't be bothered. People aren't like you, Elise. and
Thank you.
They put them in and cuddly hang on to them.
Yeah.
People want to just walk into Mitre 10 somewhere and go. So now we are very wary. So the Mitre 10 one, just the logistics of that alone, they have to go and lock it up every night. Because
Right.
they don't want lithium batteries sitting inside that container overnight when they all go home, because one of them might go
Mm.
fizz, bang, bang.
Was alkaline more easy to
Yeah,
connect?
yeah,
So if
yes.
you could just say, I just think of my children's school, they're at Kaipaki and they've got a very sustainable focus. I don't know if there's
Easy.
places like that you could connect to it
Yep.
around some simple recycling.
Yeah. So if they had a decent amount like this, we're
Yeah,
more than happy to come out for a little drive to Kaipaki and pick them up and talk to them if they want us to.
happy to.
But the schools we've engaged with so far have not been, it just hasn't ticked for us. And we're only a volunteer group that hasn't got enough time and energy to go out there to every school.
That'd be worth talking to.
So-
Yeah.
It's something there, but
And the supermarkets, New World down here?
not interested.
Aren't they?
Not interested. Again, it's because of the security, not the security, it's the danger, health and safety requirements
Yeah,
of batteries, which we stuff.
but the alkali is quite safe and stable.
Alkali is quite safe, but of course, the average person doesn't realise that, do they? They sort of suck up. So if I dig into here, I will find some ions buried in the bottom there.
Oh, so some double A's will.
Yeah,
will
so
be a
there's-
time.
The old rechargeable ones.
Oh,
I'm looking, it's coming. Ask a question first and I'll find one. There's one. That looks like an alkali, but it's actually NiMH and ion mixed in one.
it is labelled on it.
It'll, if you look hard enough, as on the blue.
Thank you.
Andrew.
Andrew?
Yep. Do Phoenix pay you for the, do you keep your head above water, or what's the biggest
Phoenix charges,
bugbear in your system?
pay Phoenix. There is no competition in the market. 40 cents per kilo, they charge us for a bucket of these. So it cost us $2,500 per pallet a month ago to send off to them. And they send them away to Japan to get processed. The only money they'll give us is batteries out of, the old Nissan Leaf batteries coming out of cars now. They're still worth some money. That's about the only batteries they'll actually give you money for. Everything else you have to pay for. And it varies in price. Li-ion's funny enough, 60 cents a kilo rather than 40 cents for the old alkali. Because of the extra work involved in processing them, but not the broken ones. They still haven't got a solution for that.
Thank you, Greg. Any further questions, Alana?
Thank you. Love your work. I was just wondering, do you get any support from the Waste Minimisation Fund? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
For
That was
a number of other, not just this is more so for the Cambridge Greenville Rust, this battery collection to keep this going, to keep it out of the landfill from the Cambridge area.
yeah.
And the waste
Yeah.
minimisation is part of the overall business.
Mm.
And that'll take us into the resource behind Meta Cygnus Drive that time.
Right. And you've got a good partnership with Mitre 10 that's working really well,
Oh,
isn't it?
Mitre 10, amazing.
They're great.
Can I say that again? Mitre 10,
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, so good. So good. Thank you
great.
so much, Greg. Appreciate that presentation too. That was awesome. Thank you. Right, David Symes from Hutapu. David? David? Oh, Maurice. Oh, that was on a different, I've got a different list.
Yep.
Where's that gone? Maurice, sorry,
Definitely
sorry, I
not
had
Dave.
David down, but you are not David,
No.
but it's the same organization, but.
No,
different
good,
person.
Marius here, representing
Marius, nice-
Hautapu Sports Club.
Nice to see you. Sorry
Thank you
about
very
that.
much. Going to be less dramatic, but really short.
Please, please.
So yeah, I think the main focus of our application is, Hautapu Sports has been changing quite a bit over the last few years, especially I think other sport clubs, which I see in the room as well, can relate. There's quite a lot of junior sport people around, so the whole demographic of who's coming into the council facilities have changed, not only the volume, but also the type of person. One big need for Hautapu Sports is the ablution facilities at the moment. They are not really, they're entirely not disabled or inaccessible. The accessibility is very limited, and it's also not unisex. So this project that we have underway at the moment is to upgrade those to be more accessible and just to be a bit more friendly for the wider community instead of just historically what it was. There's the numbers is I think we've got about 1,000 junior summer sport members and about 400 junior winter sport members, which all use the facilities. On weekends, you can get them plus wider family coming into the facilities, which is a substantial amount of people. So yeah, that's the main purpose of the project we are undertaking at the moment. We do have applications in with Lotto as well to contribute towards it, but still waiting outcomes on that. Yeah. Thank you.
Questions? Anybody? No, it's a great sports club. So good to see the kids running around on Fridays and all days of the week, really. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
different dynamic. I think clubs
Yes.
are getting used to facilitating that, but
Yes.
it's exciting.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, thank you so much for coming and presenting.
Cool.
Appreciate
Thank you
that.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we should have Dave Peters from Leamington. Nice to see you both. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. So, my name's Steve Kidd, and I work with here is Dave Peters, who's chairperson of Leamington Rugby Sports Club. We're here tonight just to present in support of the cost of appropriately maintaining our sports field at Carlisle Street at where we're domiciled there. We have got a presentation, which I think Deborah's going to put up shortly. Nice one. You can probably go straight to the next slide, Deborah, if you don't mind. I'll do most of the initial talking. Dave's here in support of more detailed questions around the project and the maintenance work that is required. Awesome, great, thanks. So just briefly about us, we 2 years ago celebrated our 125th Jubilee. We have over 700 active members during the winter season. 40% of them are female and 50% are tamariki age. So just like we heard from Hotapu, the dynamic of the sports clubs in Cambridge has changed dramatically in the last few years, with primary schools no longer delivering winter sports, hockey, rugby, netball has come back to the clubs. And for a good part of 120 years, Leamington was really all about adult sport, not set up appropriately. And then suddenly a big influx of kids, now 50% of our members are tamariki age, as I mentioned. We have over 100 volunteers. Most of them are in the important roles of coaching and managing teams to ensure that our participants have a good experience while they're at the club. We have a community lease over 7.6 hectares there, which includes 3 sports fields, 3 rugby fields. There's also 2 netball courts, basketball court, there's 3 squash courts, and there's a whole lot of ancillary facilities, changing rooms, and car parks and social space as well, more incidental space. Next slide. Thanks, Deborah. So just to provide you some context, we're in the middle of doing a strategic plan. The dynamic change, which has been awesome at Leamington, has highlighted the need to do a strategic plan and understand a bit more about our future direction. So we're in the process of that at the moment, but we're all about community and we're all about kids having a great experience as a big part of it. We have aligned strategies with Waipa District Council. In your last long-term plan, one of the community outcomes was being socially resilient and supporting the great work that community groups do, and we're part of that. Obviously, we're aware that we play a role in a larger community system, and everyone's got to work closely together to make the whole thing move effectively and efficiently. Other external strategic priorities that you guys have as a Waipa District Council include focusing on creating vibrant communities, and that includes developing and upgrading community facilities, including sports parks. We also align to the wider sports sector strategies, Sport Waikato, and the regional and national strategies, community sport strategies, or the sports that we offer. The next one, thanks, Deborah. So just to provide some context around the pressure we're currently experiencing on sports fields, and none of this will be new to you. You've seen a lot of these studies, but obviously really strong district growth, Active population growth is not so strong, but it is projected to be strong in Cambridge. More specifically, sports field studies. Cambridge is in 2019, when the last study was done, had a shortfall of 30 hours per week on winter sports fields, of which 17 hours were used, those sports fields were used for rugby. That's projected to be 33 hours for rugby by the year 2038. So really strong pressure. Obviously not enough capacity to meet the needs, but notably also that 2019 figure was prior to the junior sport coming into the sports club as well. So additional pressure happening. Obviously there's also sports lighting studies that you've done, but one other study that I will mention is the lease model review, and that's all about optimising and getting more out of the existing field platforms and including opportunities for other sports. And we although we're a rugby club and have 3 rugby fields, we want to be doing more during the off seasons of rugby to provide for the community as well. And when it comes to capacity within our field, we find that we're really constrained. We just don't have the capacity there. The next, your next slide, thanks. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's some of my technical, just to highlight the various studies. So this is more specifically about Leamington. So we have 3 soil-based fields here, essentially unimproved for the last 20 odd years since they were developed, or 20 to 30 years. No irrigation, no drainage, a little bit of drainage down one side of one field, which helps because the field is a little bit crowned. Winter season capacity, generally accepted benchmarks of soil-based fields are good for 8 to 10 hours use a week during the winter. And as you saw from some of the data around shortfalls of capacity, you know, there's some pretty acute needs there. The Waipo District Council field upgrade budgets that were part of the long-term plan last year got taken out. They've been put on hold due to budget constraints. That would have made a big difference to our club. We were one of the clubs that was lined up to get a field upgrade. We understand that, like budget constraints are there, and we can completely understand that. But all it does is put the pressure back on us to meet the needs of our community and our participants. And as I mentioned before, demand on sports fields has increased significantly in recent years with the introduction of junior sport at the club. The implications of that is that we've had to be really proactive with the management of our fields. We space teams out when they're training. Everyone drives into the car park and wants to train right next to the car park or under the best lights, you know, but we've had to be really proactive in the way we use them just to maintain the integrity of the sports field platforms. We've had to prioritise, and really wet weeks during the winter, we prioritise matches over training. So if it feels as though it's going to be too wet and the field services are going to be compromised, we'll cancel trainings just so that the kids and the adults can get a game on the weekend. And the impact on the participant experience is not to be underestimated here. We really want to ensure that they have a good participant experience and they maintain in the sport that they're choosing. It also limits the capacity constraints that we've got, limits our community uses during the shoulder and summer season. So that's the autumn and spring and summer. We need that time to regenerate those fields to make sure that we can get as much out of them in the winter. And it's also highlighted to the club that we need to be way more proactive in our maintenance budgets and planning to ensure that when the winter season rolls around, we're ready to go and we've got good durable fixes. All that comes at a cost. Next slide, thanks. So in particular, so just to nail in on our project, it's all about maintenance program for our sports fields. All our facilities need maintenance and investment, but we've made a conscious effort to prioritise our budgets on actual playing surfaces rather than the ancillary or incidental infrastructure. So it's all about courts and fields for us to make sure that we can get people out there participating. We'd like to do more with our ancillary facilities, the changing rooms, and make them more user friendly and fit for purpose. But at the moment, because of our funding constraints, we've got to prioritise Benchmark maintenance cost is part of our Sport New Zealand studies previously for small based fields of $15,000 to $25,000 a year per field. Waipahu District Council will undertake the mowing for us weekly, which we're incredibly grateful for. Not only does it keep the grass down, but during the winter season it flattens the surface. Our rugby boots do tear up on a fair bit, and the mowers are heavy enough to keep our surfaces flat. But the club is responsible for all other maintenance and renovation costs. So if we're really honest with ourselves, we'd say we don't invest enough in maintenance. We've sort of in the past put as much as we could in what the cash flow allowed. But as I said, we're taking a bit more of a proactive approach now and to ensure that we get as much out of it as we can. This project covers essential works and it may scale up if we can, if any other budget money becomes available. And in terms of timing, the key renovation periods, as Brad will tell you, is in spring and autumn. We've missed the spring. We did a little bit of maintenance during this last spring. We probably need to do a bit in the autumn, but it may be that the most important time for us is next spring. But that's within the 12 months that's available for this funding.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Steve? For this one, we have read your application, so we're Philip.
Yeah. Thank you. Can we just go back one or two slides to the map of the sports fields? 4 sports fields. Yeah, that one there. So table 9 at the bottom there.
Yep.
It's got at the bottom line, it's got average hours 117 and 217. Is that per cap? Is that Cambridge? Is that per capita? Because I mean it's a lot higher than the cities.
Oh,
is that Cambridge or?
That's essentially, so that's what that's saying is
Or Leamington, I should say.
No, it's not Cambridge. So that's out of a Sport New Zealand guidance document around sports field development. It's general benchmark information. Soil field in Auckland, for example, will get between 5 and 14 hours a week use capacity out of it, with an average of 10. So that's all about capacity of sport fields. And that bottom line is basically Auckland times by 25 weeks or 1 to 7.
Cool. Okay,
that makes sense.
Drew, the last, just watch your mic there.
Very professional presentation. It's really good to understand your situation. Just quickly, your project was to bring in soil, I think, a lot of soil. What does that do? Does it lift it up so it drains away better? Or?
Originally, the soil was donated to us by CNR, and it was to raise the ground level or the depth of the topsoil on number 1 field by 100 millimetres, because we had some soil testing done on that field by the Waikato rugby field maintenance guys, and we found that we've only got topsoil sitting at about 75 mils, and we need a thicker layer. Then the council offered us the opportunity to have a full field upgrade, sand-based field, irrigation and drainage, which meant that soil was going to be used as, or a factor of that soil was going to be used in there. Funding's been removed for that now, short term, hopefully. So we are just now looking to maintain grass growth on the soil that we've got, because putting soil on there with no irrigation, waste of soil.
Thank you very much, both of you, for coming and presenting to us. That's great. You're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of our meeting or check in from home. But it was nice to meet you both, and thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
And you're on going.
Right. Nice to see you all. So Bill popped a comment on Facebook a while ago that he didn't know anything about the community board, and I jumped at the opportunity to tell him a little bit about it and also invite him to one of our meetings, and he's come. Bill, you've got 5 minutes. I'll give you a wave. You're very welcome. Just pop that microphone on so we can all hear you. Thank you.
Right, my name is Bill Cronin, may have seen the article I put on Facebook about criticising both the council and you. I know Phil, I've known for quite a while. I believe Andrew is my immediate neighbour on two sides. He's spoken to my wife Veronica quite a few times. I don't get a vote actually on this board because Mike here is the only candidate that stands in the Mungga Territory Ward, and I'm there, and I've known up Silvermorn for quite a few years. But I was quite critical of the council, and I'm actually surprised at a few things that actually appeared in tonight's meeting, because I read quite a few of the minutes, and I went to see they arise to go to this minute. One of them was the first thing, how many of the members of this meeting speak fluent Maori? Could you tell me?
Bill, I'm sorry, in our public forum, it's not an opportunity for you to ask questions of us.
Right.
It's for us to hear from you.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm quite surprised that this meeting started off with a karakia when I'd very much doubt, no, you asked me to speak, so I'm going to speak.
yes, but I'll just ask you to just firstly watch your tone and also just understand that we've welcomed you here. So just your politeness is appreciated.
Yes, all right.
Thank you.
One of the criticisms I have of everything that's happening with both council, this board, and a lot of others, is that we have a Maori force on us. So that's one of the things that upset me. Now, the comments that I put on Facebook, I had answers from a number of you, and I had a lot of other comments come in from very many people in the Cambridge area. None of them were nasty comments. There were some from, I think there were a couple of members here saying they'd seen articles from the board quite a few times. I'd only seen 4 or 5 articles ever, and I've been here 30 years. I've never been approached by anybody from the board. As I said, I've known Phil for quite a few years and spoken to him, but never about the board. But I've read through the minutes of the board and seen a lot of the projects that you seem to go to. But it doesn't appear as though the ground roots ratepayers, and it's the council that provides you with the money, I understand, for these trusts or whatever you give money to. But it doesn't appear, and as I mentioned to Joe before the meeting, that none of the ground roots ratepayers are spoken to. You speak to the trusts and the groups that you're involved with. But as you all announced at the early part of the meeting, a lot of you are involved in many of those trusts. So you're basically speaking to the same people all the time, not the ground roots ratepayers who aren't getting a say in how the money's being spent. And I'm one of those ground ratepayers. No one from the board has ever spoken to me about anything. And quite a few of them friends that I've spoken to have never heard anything from the board. Now, as I mentioned to Joe beforehand, I read articles in the Cambridge News. I get the edition as well, Waikato Times and Courier. And I read the articles there. I see the name of the person, but I don't notice where it's from Cambridge Community Board, the ratepayers or anything like that. So I don't know who's saying it. I might agree with some of those things. I might disagree with some of those things. But your name is not standing out to people. And don't know what you do. Don't hear from you about it at all. But as a ratepayer, I and all the other ratepayers, the ground roots ones, should be hearing from you loud and proud of what you're doing. And there are some of the things that you do are great, like some of the speakers tonight. They're groundbreaking things that need to be done, like some of the Life Trust and those sort of things. We need them. But there are some things that I've read there which are nice to haves. It's the same with the council. There are nice to haves. There are things that are needed. People don't know about them. They don't hear about them. And that's the thing we should be hearing about. All right? The people in town and the rural area should be hearing about you, should be knowing what you're doing regularly. Jo says she does a monthly piece in the Cambridge News. All right, we should be hearing it more often than that. We should be hearing from all of you about what the board does, why and how, where the money comes from, where it goes, and what it's being spent on. Not on the nice to haves, but on the necessary things like the Life Care, the Westpac Trust helicopter, or whatever you're doing with it. And letting people know that you're here for all of them, even the ground roots ones that aren't on 1 or 3 of these boards that many of you are on. So you need to get out and let the people know that the board's there. If you're at the market day on Saturday, I've been down there many times and I've never noticed the community board's banner or anything down there at all. I never heard anybody down there speaking about the board. And yet the market day is in a big circle with a band in the middle. Or band or music, whatever is in the middle. I've never seen you down there. And I go down there regularly. Same as the market day in, I don't know whether Tamahere's in our district. I think it's virtually on the boundary, but there's still Cambridge residents go there. Te Awamutu is in Waipa. They have a market day. So you need to be over there telling people about it. The balloons over Waikato, so I think you need to be down there, or whatever we're doing. People here in the Waipa district need to know, or the Cambridge district need to know, because we've got the other one, which is the Kiki, whatever community board as well. So you're basically this area, and people need to know who you are and what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, where you get the money from, what you get the money for, and what you're spending it on. Okay, that's why I put the criticism on there. No, you were both with the council, and I had to go at the council too, and not picking on you, Phil, or anything like that. But the council just shut shop as if anyone says anything about them. Right, you didn't. Quite a few of you came to me, but I had hundreds of people contact me personally, saying, "Yeah, it's about time we knew." And some of you, I got well said, Bill, from quite a few people. Said, I didn't know they existed. Some of them I know are not ratepayers, but they're renters, they're living here. So indirectly they're paying rates because through the rent they pay it to the owner. And they are living here, they're in our district, they're in here. But I said 30 years, and I get the election papers come out every 3 years, and there's no going to be voting because the person that stands for it is automatically in. And I'm out in the country, and I come into town regularly. I've seen a few of you around town, but I didn't know who you were. All right. As I said, with the exception of Sue and Phil, didn't know anybody else here. All right. You're all on a community board supposed to be representing me and the others. But most aren't on these committees that you stand for. And most of you are on more than one of these committees. So you're talking to yourselves. You're talking to each other again. The grassroots people need to know who you are and what you're doing. Right?
Thank you, Bill. Well, it's good that you've come and met us and you know who we are now and you know who we all are. And we welcome you to, of course, email us and come again to our meetings. Does anyone have any questions for Bill on anything he presented? No? Thank you. We do appreciate your time, though. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Have a good evening.
That's it.
I went down it.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah. I know. I saw you.
I didn't.
Yep. Thank you.
That's everyone for our public forum. So let's quickly move through the confirmation of our meetings of our previous meeting, which was on the 16th of October. I'll move that they were a true and correct record of proceedings. Elise is going to second. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to our long-term plan progress report. So we have Kirsty and we have Ken and Yolanda. Welcome. You're welcome to come and sit here, or we can give you a mic, or just if you'd like to be. We'll grab you another chair. So for those of you listening at home, the long-term plan is a document which sets the direction for the district and is formally reviewed and updated every 3 years, which is currently happening. And it describes the activities of council and it shows the whole picture of how the activities and projects are managed, delivered and funded. So we really want to thank you all for coming. You are in the thick of it right now. You're super busy and we really appreciate your time. The community board has some questions around the finances particularly, and we know that if we have questions, then the wider community may also have questions. If you're happy I can read each question to you. You can answer it. We can have a few clarifications and then come back to me for the second one. Is that okay? Thank you. Oh, Melissa, thank you.
Sorry, I'll just present the, oh, it's okay. I'll just present the report and then I guess I'll leave it over to you to go through the questions. But so as you've pointed out, Joe, we are right in the thick of it, and we are in the final stage of working through the financial strategy and the budgeting process. So since the last update to the board, we've had 3 workshops with our elected members, and the focus of these workshops are detailed in the report, but I guess to summarise, that they have been focusing on the draft year 1 rate increase, the significant forecasting assumptions, sample indicator properties, which I guess that's the first opportunity we get to see how the rates translate to individual properties in a dollar value. So it's quite a nice way to see the translation. And then the financial strategy and policies as well. One thing I would just like to point out, since drafting the report, there has been an amendment to the schedule. So we did have a workshop with our elected members planned for today. That didn't go ahead, so the work program has been deferred by a week. I'm happy to take questions.
Any questions for Melissa on the process? No, I think that's fine. Thank you, Melissa. Right. So Yolanda or Ken, if you don't mind, I'll start our questions. The first question we had is, why are our rates going to be increased by 16%, and why are the first few years so high? What financial modelling does the council do beyond the LTP? Who checks the risk of the models besides councillors? And do you use independent financial advice to discuss the what ifs? So that's a big 3 question in one, but it's about the rates. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So
Is that mic on? Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, yes.
Perfect.
So what? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so look, I think, is there a chart coming up on the screen behind us? Yeah. So look, I guess in terms of that first part of the question, Joe, yeah, so why are the rates going up by 16%, and then why are the first few years so high? So look, in terms of the 16%, yeah, look, we came up, and this has been shown in a public workshop. We came up with something called a rates bridge. So I guess a bit of a visual diagram, which has just popped up on the screen behind me there. Yeah, because this was designed to answer exactly that question. Yeah, you know, what has happened between the current year rates requirement and the rates requirement that we're looking at for year 1 of the LTP, and you know, what has led to that 16% increase. Okay, so yeah, so we just need Yolanda to come back, because she is going to take you through the rates bridge. And here she is.
Thank you. So what we did here was we started with the rates requirement in 2024-25. So that's the first blue block. And then the last blue block is currently what we were looking at the time for the 25-26, the first year rate requirement. And then just building blocks to determine why it increased between the start and then what we were requiring. So the first group is operating funding for what we call the cornerstone community projects. So as part of the 24-25 Enhanced Annual Plan, we decided to push pause on our community projects such as Te Arawai and Cambridge Library due to our financial situation. At the workshop on the 10th of September, our elected members requested us to put operational funding into the budget to keep those projects alive and just move it along. It subsequently has been reduced in further work that we did, but at the time that was the first block of costs. The second block is increase in gas prices. So we use natural gas to heat our community pools. And although we're on an all of government contract, to ensure that our costs are competitive, the service provider had indicated a 96% increase in our cost. So we had to increase our rate requirement to correspond with that increase. The next group is the increase in operating costs for our core services. So included in this block is a range of operational activities such as mowing and gardening, tree care, graffiti removal, and pest control. So we found that over time, our graffiti removal expenses have increased due to vandalism on our public amenities, and more often than not, we have to repeatedly remove graffiti. Also an increase in our mechanical and reticulation maintenance, electrical and building services, due to, at the time, our reduction in renewal projects. If you don't renew, your maintenance cost does increase. And then also an increase in laboratory testing for chemicals due to compliance requirements in our water space. Increased maintenance costs at our pools, public toilets, and the Cambridge Town Hall, and then also increased equipment hire. The next block is an increase in employee-related costs. So to ensure we remain competitive in the employment market, we've been monitoring the types of benefits that we can offer our employees. In recent times, we've introduced a subsidized staff health insurance scheme that, together with a fringe benefit tax, was included in the budget. In total, about 760,000 a year, which is equivalent to 2.2% of our total remuneration budget. We've also had to increase our training budgets, equivalent to, it's normally set as 1% of our total salary budget. So as the salary budget goes up, the training component also goes up. And then we have annual market movements on our salaries in line with what the information we get from our strategic pay remuneration advisor. The next block is an increase in our operating projects. So this block includes increases to our project costs. For instance, our district-wide tree planting, tree maintenance, open space strategy, leaf clearance, etc. Or it also includes new projects or existing projects where funds have been included from that year. The next block is a correction of our baseline for reserves that we previously used. So as part of the 24-25 annual plan, we had used 5.5 million of reserves to fund and try and ease the impact of the rates increases on our community. In our planning, we're again using 700,000 in 25-26 to ease the rates increase. So that means that 4.8 million difference that we've utilized, we need to recoup through rates in year one. And then the last bracket is the increase in our interest expense. Debt is a critical funding and financing tool for all councils to fund infrastructure and ensure intergenerational equity. As our level of debt increases, so does our interest cost.
Okay, so look, I hope that that was helpful. Yeah, like I say, that's a visual portrayal, and obviously, you know, the relevant explanations from Yolanda in terms of, yeah, you know, why we need a rates increase that high. Now, Joe, there was some other elements to that question, because then we go on to be talking about you know, why are the rates so high over the first few years? Because when you look at our rates profile, the first 3 years of our new LTP are you know, are definitely higher than what they are in those later years. In fact, the current year, which was an enhanced annual plan, it would have potentially been year one of an LTP. Yeah, that was 14.8% as well. So we've got sort of 4 years of quite elevated rates increases. Now, when you look across the local government sector, you see a relatively similar profile across all the councils. A number of councils did actually adopt LTPs in June of this year, and you do see that similar profile coming through because we are all facing the same sort of inflationary and cost pressures. But I guess turning our attention perhaps back more specifically to Waipa in the first 3 or 4 years. So look, where some of the biggies are coming from, and some of them were represented in that rates bridge, others are perhaps additional to that. So look, yeah, certainly some huge investment into infrastructure, and of course you don't need to look too far across the river there to the Cambridge wastewater treatment plant. So look, that's a $105 million project being built right now, being built over 3 years. That is actually the largest project that we have managed in this district. So it is a big the Cambridge wastewater treatment plant. I mean, obviously that's going to set us up for multiple years into the future. And so it will accommodate the growth. It will also accommodate quite significantly increased environmental and regulatory standards. So look, that's a great example of a really significant investment into infrastructure. But of course that comes at a cost, because flowing out of that is probably not great words, flowing out of a wastewater treatment plant. Sorry, I only just realised that as I said it. But yeah, look, the direct impact of that is obviously it's debt funded, so there's interest costs, and also we do need to fund the depreciation on significant assets as well. Well, in fact, on all of our infrastructure assets. Okay, so so that requires funding. Yeah, there's there has been over the last 2 or 3 years as well. There's been really significant inflation in the capital project costs. So capital project cost inflation's been huge. Infometrics did some work on that in terms of evaluating what that was, and over the 2021 to 2023 period, the capital project cost inflation was as high as 28%. So that's quite significant. So I mean, so what that means is the cost of the assets we're building, such as the Cambridge wastewater treatment plant, are increasing. But also we have to have regular revaluations of all of our existing assets. And of course, when that sort of inflation is applied to those through a revaluation process, that's quite a big jump in depreciation that needs funding. So so look, right across the infrastructure, both old and new, we're driving depreciation increases. More generalised inflationary pressures on our cost base. That's quite significant. And look, the biggest bar on that, sorry, it's not the biggest bar, it's the second biggest bar there. In the past, we have had some reserves that have been available to us. Those reserves are not available anymore, or at least not to that same level. And of course, they are having an impact. So the reason we've got that green bar at 4.8 million on the screen behind us is because we had 4.8 million less that we could apply into this year. Next year we've potentially we did still apply 700,000, but going forward we've sort of reached the end of those reserves, and we don't have that same capacity. All of that stuff puts some pressure on rates. Okay, you talked, the last bit of that was you talked about financial modelling and what do we do beyond the LTP, etc. So look, I guess the reset of the LTP every 3 years. Well, it's normally every 3 years. In this case, it's been a 4-year one for us. The one we're working on at the moment is 4 years on from the current one. But look, it's that reset of the LTP that's really the most normal trigger for a comprehensive review of our financial strategy and financial modelling. Yeah, aside from that, obviously, in those years we don't do an LTP, we do an annual plan. And of course, you know, there is a significant amount of, you know, modelling there, but just with a, you know, just with a 1-year lens. Yeah, we do draw on external advice, and for instance, in this LTP, yeah, we did call on some external expertise, yeah, and assisting us with the development of the strategy and with some of our higher level modelling. And then we got that person back again to look at the results of that. So yeah, so we did did involve that, and that is very much reflected in our financial strategy and our modelling. Yeah, we also those an LTP, when you produce an LTP, there is a legislative requirement for that to be audited. So we do have audit, obviously, you know, operating across our financial strategy, and we do have them operating across our financial models and making sure everything is good.
Thank you. Any clarifications on the answer from Ken? No, great. Okay, we'll move to the next one, which was all around debt. And if you don't mind, I'll read it out just so those listening can hear. So Waipa District Council's debt increased by 100 million in the last financial year and is indicated to have a similar increase in the current financial year. What is the likelihood of this pattern continuing, and what can be done or is being done to avoid it? The council has budgeted to increase rates significantly to be able to justify the interest costs on the debt required to fund its projects. One day the projects will be complete and debt under control. At that time, would it be logical to reduce the debt ceiling, therefore requirement of rates to pay it off, and decrease rates? There was a recent Waipa District Council press release about a new playground at the Bridleways subdivision. It mentioned that the playground is being funded by development contributions. For the community to understand in relation to our council's debt, does a statement like this mean the DCs are already collected and then used to pay for the playground, or the DCs budgeted to be received once the subdivision is full will cover the cost of the playground paid for with debt, or some other combination? Is this always the case or case by case? Thank you.
Okay.
That's a big one.
There's a lot in there.
There's a lot.
There's kind of about three.
I
or
don't
four
want to
parts.
interrupt you every
Yeah.
time with
No,
all
that's
the.
fine. No, there's about 3 or 4 parts to that question, so I can pick them up.
Thank you.
That was certainly, Joe, that was certainly the advantage of getting the questions in advance. So we can keep up with those, obviously. So look, you know, the numbers that you quoted were correct. So in the 2023-24 year, the year that's just finished, yeah, our debt did increase by $100 million, and it was in year 1 of the LTP, increasing by a similar level as well. And really, your question was about, you know, is that pattern going to continue? Is it going to, you know, lift by $100 million every year going forward? Short answer is no. So look, a really key part of our financial strategy is obviously you know, strategizing in terms of what level debt needs to be. A very big theme of our financial strategy is fixing our balance sheet, and I guess you could interpret that term as you know, getting that debt under control, you know, developing a plan to you know, to bring that profile back down. And in fact, that is what you would see if you when you see the graphs for our financial strategy and the other graphs in our LTP. So our debt peaks and around well, sort of increases, and then it levels out between years 4 and 6, and then it starts diminishing, coming back down from there. So sort of a classic sort of coat hanger shape that we're seeing in the debt. Yeah, why is that? So there is quite a large element of growth related debt in our debt profile. In fact, yeah, at the end of this year, we were expecting that to be around about 57%, the amount of our growth-related debt to be paid by DCs. Yeah, development right now has slowed considerably. We are seeing that. That's a function of the economic environment, and we are forecasting DCs to still be relatively low in terms of the income coming in over the next 3 years. but then we do see them, significantly increasing, from there on in. So those DCs coming in are very, very helpful in seeing that, that diminishment of debt. A big part of fixing the balance sheet, that philosophy as well is also, getting a bit more in the door in terms of rating dollars, and any surplus that's coming in rating dollars is targeted to paying down debt. Okay, so I think that should help with that question, hopefully. The question around the interest costs. Not sure I totally agree with where you're going to with that that question, because it's almost like you're sort of associating the increase in rates simply to meet interest costs. I mean, interest costs is a big factor. In fact, again, you can see that on the graph, and in fact for this particular year, that is the biggest element of the graph. So I'm not saying it's not significant. When your debt increases by $100 million, and when interest rates are significantly higher than they were 3 or 4 years ago, that obviously does have some impact. But look, there is a whole lot more there that does impact on rates, not just interest costs. But look, I think in terms of, like you're talking about, projects being complete, debt under control, etc. And could we reduce the debt ceiling when we get to that space? Absolutely, and all of that is pretty inherent in our financial strategy. So like I say, we've developed a financial strategy that's got that coat hanger shape. The debt is coming down in the later years. As that debt comes down, essentially, obviously the interest costs will diminish as well. And in fact, we've got a really deliberate stepping down in the strategy. So in year one, and so certainly in year 1, year 2, year 3, we are pretty reliant on having a debt covenant provision at 3.5, so that our debt can be 3.5 times the amount of our revenue. It's actually net debt being 3.5 times some very specific revenue, a very specific revenue definition. But look, we are quite reliant on that in the early years of the LTP. But then we can actually start stepping that down. We are not, actually when I say we, the councillors, the elected members, who are actually making the calls on this, they are not comfortable with that being at that 3.5 level, well into the future. So the financial strategy is very deliberately stepping down from that 3.5 to, by year 9, be down to 3. So debt no higher than 3 times revenue. Okay, so I hope that helps. And then, now you were asking, now you were touching into that DC space, and there was actually an example of a playground. So look, I would suggest, so definitely in terms of that destination playground in that totally new area of town, that is 100% DC funded. Okay, so that debt, but basically the capital cost is covered by totally covered by DCs, including any interest component of that, that comes from requiring debt in the meantime until those DCs come in. So so look, that is that is an example where a project, it is funded 100% by the growth community. In a more generalised situation, so perhaps just distancing ourselves from that playground project into more expensive stuff. Like roads and pipelines and that sort of thing that are also funded by DCs, perhaps actually in that area of town, even stormwater swales, which are pretty darn expensive. They are also paid by the cost of those is also recovered by DCs, and again the interest cost is taken account of in that equation as well. Usually, we do have to put the infrastructure into the ground. before those DCs are coming through. There is definitely a lag that's involved there. But built into the DC rates is recovering the full capital cost and recovering the cost of the interest. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. Any clarifications? Elise?
Thank you. I have just two quick clarifications. So just in regards to that right of ways playground, it would be fair to say, just to make sure I'm understanding more clearly, that it's been paid for with debt at the moment. We actually haven't got that cash in the pockets to pay for it, and we won't get that cash in the pocket until that whole development has been completed.
Oh,
Or in terms of sold?
not necessarily. So so look, as sections come into the market, and actually I understand that has been those gross sales have been partly developed. As those sections come to market, the DCs are coming in, but of course not all of those sections have been developed yet.
So the DCs come in slowly over time.
Over time, yes.
It's not
Yes.
like the whole thing happens and then they give you this big
No,
lump sum. It's just slow.
Yeah.
As they get the money, they
Yeah.
feed it back.
Yeah, so look, actually, I probably just need to be a wee bit careful there because there are development agreements that are entered with some of our larger developers that do set some of those timings. But look in general, we would be expecting some of those DCs to be coming in as the sections certainly as sections are being developed and coming to market.
Great, thank you.
And like I say, on that specific example, we would have had some DCs in, but there's still more to complete.
Thank you. And just one more quick question. Just in regards to that earlier question we mentioned around reducing the debt ceiling in time, which obviously elected members will be keen to do, and the potential to decrease rates. Has Waipā District Council ever done that historically, reduced rates?
Oh, reduce rates. I mean, there's generally always inflation in rates, and I mean, when you look at our strategy, certainly the quantum of the increase is very significantly declining. But we are not we're not proposing essentially a decrease in rates. It would be lesser increases. That's definitely the profile you see. I mean even in the best of times, there is inflation. There's also growth as well. Obviously that we're dealing with. They do increase the cost structure. And we do need to we do need revenue to meet that cost structure.
So rates will always rise. It will just depend on how significantly.
I'd say, well, generally speaking, yes.
Great. That's helpful. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks again. Just to help my understanding, you did mention that the growth cell there might be slow for 3 more years. Was a bit of your DCs might come in a bit slow for 3 years and then pick up. Does that kind of leave the council in a bit of a shortfall because you predicted the DCs to come in a bit faster? You budgeted a set time frame for them to come in. They've come in slower than the model, so therefore our interest costs are higher to hold the debt for longer.
So they have come in. So in terms of our current LTP, which was not closer. So in terms of our current LTP, 2021 to 31, I mean, definitely DCs came in slower then. But of course, what we are now working on is a reset of a new LTP, 2025 34 LTP. And in that, we're making what we believe are valid assumptions in terms of the rates of those DCs coming in. And they will look different from the 2021 31 LTP because things have changed, the environment has changed.
So maybe just to point, the interest on DC loans are capitalized onto the DC loans, so that doesn't become part of the rate requirement. It stays with the DC loans.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but if interest rates are higher than you expected and they come in slower than you expected, the DCs don't go up. They've already been set for that development. So who covers that shortfall?
No. So, yeah, so look, we do have the ability to reprice our DCs over time. So we can do annual repricing of those DCs. And in effect, we have to, to make sure that works and to make sure that the growth community is still paying for growth. Yeah.
That's a good
So
question.
that was a really good question,
Yeah.
actually, because it does certainly that will help to clarify that.
Good question. Thanks, Andrew. That was good. I'm satisfied. Oh, sorry, Alana. Apologies.
Hopefully a quick one. The bespoke government, has that been confirmed, or when do you expect it to be confirmed?
Yeah, so no, look, we don't expect that to be confirmed until February of next year. However, which is unfortunate, that is quite late in the piece. But yesterday, the LGFA, the Local Government Funding Agency, had its AGM, and they voted for the change in foundation policies, which actually enables those bespoke covenants with growth focused councils to be approved. So the enablement for it was approved just yesterday afternoon. So hot off the press. So we will be able to apply between now and February. They are saying that the first board meeting, because it then becomes a board decision. That's what the policy changes enabled. It becomes a board decision to approve, and they are saying that they will start doing that from February onwards.
Thanks, Alana. We had some questions around growth, but I'm satisfied that you have actually answered them already within that first kind of debt part. So I think I'd like to go now to our library and other big projects questions, which was, with the level of debt now proposed in the LTP for the next 10 years, can you comment on the ability of Waipa District Council to be able to allocate funding to large projects like Cambridge Connections or a new Cambridge Library, which the Cambridge Community Board has been pushing for? What other options for funding can Waipa District Council explore? And are there examples of this being done successfully by council in the past or by other councils in New Zealand?
Okay. Yep. Cool. Look, I'm going to have to answer that question at a relatively high level. So look, we absolutely know that that this community board is very, very focused on a library solution for Cambridge. We know absolutely that's your number one project. You've told the councillors that quite clearly. So look, as part of our enhanced annual plan that we adopted in July, we pushed pause on all of these discretionary projects, including the Cambridge Library, obviously, but not exclusively the Cambridge Library. There was a whole number of those discretionary projects. Look, that approach is proposed to be carried through into the LTP, just given that the environment that we're in at the moment. It is we've got a challenging financial environment, so that really requires that. However, the good news is that we have for 2 or 3 of our really key we're calling them cornerstone projects. We have in the draft LTP trantained a certain amount of funding to continue exploring options for those projects. So there is a tranche of money that is available there to continue investigating options for advancing them at the right time. Yes, I mean, there are other means of delivering these projects other than potentially just council building them itself and incurring the full capital cost, most likely debt funded. I mean, there are other possibilities. There are partnership possibilities, obviously, with others. I mean, they could be that could be joint development or joint funding. Alternatively, it could be somebody else actually building the bricks and mortar, funding the bricks and mortar, and council actually leasing the building off them. So so look, there's multiple possibilities we could look at that we actually have in the past. We have looked at some of those options, but look, I think in the current environment we need to look again at those sorts of options. The councillors have expressed interest in us looking at alternative options options as well. And like I say, we do have some funding available to to give that consideration in due course. Look, I haven't done a whole bunch of research in terms of what has been done. Well, actually, there's probably not been a lot done in that space by WDC in the past. I think there are some other councils who have done some partnership stuff. We haven't done a huge amount of exploring, so I can't really give you a list of projects at the moment. But that would definitely be part of the work program as we look at that.
Is there any likelihood that a new library for Cambridge would be up near the?
I mean, we can't promise that. All I can say is that we have, as I said just a few moments ago, we have got a tranche of funding there that enables us to keep looking at the options. I mean, in terms of the Cambridge Library, you'll be well aware that a really significant feasibility study was done. So we have done a bunch of work in that space. Actually, Brad Ward obviously very involved in commissioning that piece of work done by Power. We have done some work on this, and we've got funding to continue.
I think, if more people use the library, then.
So there are, there are three projects there that are being given some priority, and the Cambridge Library is one of those three. Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you. Does anyone have any other clarifying questions on anything that Ken and Yolanda have presented to us? Obviously, things are changing all the time. We'd love you to come back perhaps in the new year, give us another update if that's possible. That'd be really great. Oh, Andrew, yes.
Yeah, I'm really appreciative of you coming in and answering those questions. I just had a further one about the DCs. To get us out of this hole, you kind of mentioned we've got to get the DCs coming in over time. My question is kind of about growth and to help balance the books and take control of debt. Do we need more DCs in the future to make a bigger margin? Like, you can either charge ratepayers more or get more DCs from somewhere. What's sort of the way to reduce debt over time?
Actually, you can't just ramp up the DCs. So fundamentally, in regard to the legislation for DCs, all you can do is recover the cost of the development and the financing costs. So you can't add a margin on top of that. You can only recover true costs. So we are limited in that space. But look, the philosophy here at Waipawa, and it's been the philosophy for a long time, is that growth pays for growth, and it actually pays for that financing component, the interest cost as well. So just so it doesn't become a burden on rates. Look, the really unfortunate thing though, Andrew, is it is squeezing our debt capacity, obviously. That is really unfortunate because we have got so much growth related debt on our books. It's squeezing our capacity, but it's not a cost or a burden on ratepayers.
Thank you, Andrew. Good question. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Yep, it's a busy time for you all. So thank you so much. Thank you, Landa, Melissa, and Kirsty. Thank you.
No worries.
very much.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Right, we need to now receive Melissa's report. I'm happy to move that. Can someone second? Alana, thank you. All in favour? Say aye. Thank you. Carried. Right, we'll go to our Treasury report now. So I'll hand over to Debs or Claire. I'll give you a minute, no rush. And then after this item, we will adjourn our meeting, just have a little brain break before we get into our discretionary funding. No, I think we can just do it now. Get it done, if you can. It's important for us to know how much we've got to give away to the community, so we want to get this right.
Okay, so treasury reports in the agenda. We did return some money back into uncommitted from money that hadn't been spent. There was some returned back to uncommitted. So the amount you've got there, I believe, for your discretionary funding tonight is $29,451.23. Did anyone have any questions jumping out at them about the treasury report?
Questions on the budget? Alex? Thank you. Yeah, there's still some things that we can return to uncommitted funds. Like the paper plus one, which we know we can't recoup. We may as well just return to
Yeah.
uncommitted.
Yep,
Can we do
so
that?
that one, when we passed that one, part of the resolution didn't say that we could return it to uncommitted. So at the next meeting, we will have to pass a resolution to have that one back.
Okay.
The rest of it, I think, so there's only the 86.96 which is the $100 minus GST,
Yeah.
and $3.99.
That's
So that invoice was sent in US dollars.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be a change
Yeah,
in
currency
the
thing.
currency
Yeah, okay.
exchange. So maybe in February you may have about $90.95.
Yeah.
That we can return back. Yeah.
I think that's worth doing. Been sitting there for a while. Any other questions?
The community board is not registered for GSTA because all the applications are all plus GST, but it doesn't say what our figures are in our available balance. So we don't have to worry about that at all, do we?
So the figures in the treasury report are excluding GST. Yeah, because it counts. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Good question.
So Joe, sorry, sorry, so yeah, so look in that regard, any money flowing through the community board, including these discretionary grants, are yeah, I mean there is we are GST registered, so the GST can be deducted off, so the GST exclusive treatment is appropriate. Yeah, although of course that depends on whether the other party, in regard to these discretionary grants, it depends on whether the other party is registered or not. Yeah.
Good question. Thank you.
Thing to that. So so just to clarify a little bit further, when we get to the resolution for the discretionary funding, if they're not GST registered, you'll see that in the resolution.
Okay. Right. If there's no further questions, let's just move that we receive NADA's report for the period of 31st October 2024. Mike Montgomery will move very quickly, and Andrew. Thank you. Right, so we're going to adjourn our meeting now for 10 minutes. Veronica, thank you. Right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for that little break. Now we're going to move into our discretionary fund applications. Obviously, some of us have declared an interest in some of these applications. So best practice is that you leave the room during the deliberations and then come back once we've decided a figure. So let's start at the top. Right. So I think what we do normally is just go through, we kind of workshop a little bit about what we're feeling for each one, and then we'll go back again at the end and confirm. Brad.
Just for my mind at the start, just so I'm aware.
Before you carry on, Brad, does anyone think we need to go into publicly excluded where we need to discuss confidential financial records? If we do, we need to pass that now. If we don't, we can carry on. You're saying yes?
Why don't you pass it so that it's in place if you need to? Is that how it works or not?
We'll stop the live stream now.
Yes, I do have some questions about the accounts in one piece.
Okay. Okay, all right, so we're gonna, all right. Okay. It's just 1 moment. Which one? This one. There's so many pieces. Here it is. We'll just pass it. So this is it here. Do I have to read the whole thing? Just the resolution. Okay, so we will move into public excluded to protect information which is subject to an obligation of confidence, where the making available of the information would be likely to prejudice the supply of similar information or information from the same source, where it is in the public interest that such information should continue to be supplied, or it would likely otherwise to damage the public interest. So I'll move that. Can somebody second that for me? Sue, thank you. All in favour? Aye. Bill, that will mean we'll have to say goodnight to you. Okay, welcome back. Thank you very much. Right. Debs, did you want to speak on our process here for a minute? Or not?
Yeah. Yep. So if you are looking at the report, when we were looking at the people that met criteria because of accountability reports being returned, there was 2 in the 22-23 table that hadn't returned any yet. They have since returned accountability reports since you got the agenda or the report was written. The ones in the latest year, some of that they have been allocated from your meeting that you had in April this year, and from maybe a couple, but I can't think off the top of my head, from the end of last year. So they hadn't quite met that 12 months requirement yet. But the ones before that have now since returned an accountability form. So all of them on that criteria are all good to go.
Right. Okay. Shall we go through like we normally do, where I'll go through each one and we'll talk about the amount that's requested and what we think is an appropriate amount. Just remember, if you have declared an interest, you will have to leave during this part. Right, so we'll start with Cambridge Blind and Vision Impaired Support Group, who are requesting $1,000. Initial thoughts? Okay, keeping in mind our total is 29,451.
I just thought it was a bit light on the detail of the event. For the
Okay.
budgeting. Otherwise, okay.
Okay,
Happy to support it.
Okay.
I tentatively put down an amount of $500.
Okay.
Just to see
Start
if we
off.
can spread it around everyone.
Yep.
And then we can come back and
Okay.
deal with it.
I'm happy with that.
Happy with that.
Right, let's leave that at 500 and we can come back and have a look. Right, the Men's Shed have requested $5,000 for the repaint outside of their building, which is a council heritage structure. Obviously, 5,000 is a significant amount when you only have 29,000 to give out. 1,000?
Yeah, I put
Okay.
down 1,000, but I
1,000.
would be inclined to boss there a little bit
Mm.
if we felt that we had room.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be happy to even go 2,000.
Yeah, us too as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I was kind of thinking like painting's one of the easier things for them to do, so I brought it down.
It's expensive though, like the actual
Yeah.
paint, even though they've got the labor. I guess that would, yeah.
Just places like not past, but one of the things to try and get a deal.
Right, let's start with 2,000 and I think we should come back to that one. But right, the Gymnastics Club, Cambridge Gymnastics Club, $5,000. Now this is for operational overheads. First thoughts?
How do we feel about parking with sports groups?
Yeah,
Going to the community group?
that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Okay, good.
Yeah, I probably disagree with that. Valuable parts of society as well, so.
100% agree, but I feel like they kind of all offer a similar offering to the community. So maybe we'd want to think about how we allocate that funding fairly.
Yes, yeah,
Because they're all doing the same work.
yeah.
But, just a thought, but happy to.
Yeah, well, no, we can look at them as like as a lens at the end and, you know.
Put counselling in. 3 child counselling services here.
Mm. Alana, what do you think? Do you think look at the sports fields after? Or are you happy to go bit by bit? Okay. Okay. All right, let's go bit by bit, Elise. And then let's look at it again at the end, little Elise. Okay, so back to the Gymnastics Club. 5,000. Assistance with operational overheads to ensure future of the club.
1,000 as a starting point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any further thoughts on that? Everyone's nodding. Okay, 1,000. Okay, Cambridge Kids Playgroup, they have asked for $2,000 for a large shed for storage of their resources.
Put 1,000, but I'd be happy to go north of that. They're pretty, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and a very important community. I'd be pro upping 1,000 if we could.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought they put in a good report and it's quite clear what they want. So yeah, I agree with Elise.
Now, Alana, I'll just ask you to whip out for life skills. Was there anyone else? No on life skills? No, it was just Alana. Okay, life skills who have asked for 3,500 for a contribution to children's counselling at Leamington Primary School. This is a pretty yeah, use your mic. They are wider, but this might just be.
They are wider, they are Cambridge wide, but they're specifically looking for Leamington Primary.
I put $1,000 to help.
I had a bit more. I had 2. We haven't decided what we're giving her yet. Hold on. Oh, no, that was just my thoughts, but you know. Oh, did you? Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry, Les. Right. It's going to be a revolving door in and out. Cambridge Netball Centre have requested $1,500 for administration wage costs. First thoughts?
I was on the line.
No,
If I'm
Because it switches them off.
yeah, I was on the lighter end.
Okay.
More of a donation. I appreciate what you do in the community, but I don't. Yeah.
$100?
500.
500?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was right set, but happy to hear other people.
Everyone else?
I wouldn't support them on that basis.
I'd support the whole lot. I just looked, there was a heap of kids going there. I thought it was like 1,000 kids or something. It's crazy. So I thought, yep, not much money for that. Thanks.
Okay. Alana, any thoughts on that one? Just watch your mic.
Yep, I was gonna suggest 1,000 as a starting point, but flexible on that.
Okay, again, let's put 1,000 and we'll come back. It may be that we have to reduce a few of these. Right, Cambridge Primary PTA. This is to operate fundraising events for the school. And they've asked for 2,500.
I thought that was almost defeating the purpose. I thought, they're asking for money to raise money. I thought maybe, say 500, say here's a starter, but they were pushing.
I am of a similar opinion, so it feels like I'd be happy to donate to support them, but yeah, as a fundraising event. Yeah, I felt it was a smaller amount for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
I looked for bouncy castles and fun games. I thought the others are more in need of our money.
Yeah, great. It didn't work for me.
Okay, so 500. Should we put that? Okay.
Or 0. There were a couple of calls for 0.
Oh, 0? Oh, okay,
It was
0.
a 0.
Oh, was it 0 for you? Okay, I thought you were agreeing. Okay.
Confident.
Andrew? Andrew? 0? Okay.
Other schools get the message. Like, hey, we could do that too.
Okay. Everyone's in agreement with that one. All right. Again, we can always come back and have a look at the end. Right. Cambridge Rowing Club that have requested $1,600 for some equipment. Yep. That's why I said equipment.
For a rowing pro, really important, to be honest.
Any thoughts on amount, Sue?
I said 1,600, but I'm biased because my daughter was a Cox.
Okay. Elise, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was on the lighter end of this. I felt like as much as it's an important piece of equipment, it served a reasonably small portion of the community.
Okay.
I support it at 1,000.
Okay.
I'd second 1,000.
What was your dollar amount, did you think, Elise?
Well, bear in mind that my dollar amount had us kind of sitting around, when I totaled it up, around the $17,000 mark. So I
Okay.
was light across the board.
Okay.
So I had 500, but
Okay.
room to go up.
Yeah, I was the same logic as Elise, but go to 1,000. But yeah, I started at 500.
Okay. Let's put 1,000 and see what we come back to. Right, Phil and Andrew, this is you guys. This is Cambridge Safer Community Charitable Trust. And they have asked for $2,000 operational costs towards staff to keep the neighbourhood support residents database current. $1,000.
That's right.
Mike?
I've traditionally been quite a supporter of the trust because of their reach, but so I would maybe go up on this one because they touch a lot of people. So on that criteria, it worked for me. But
Yeah, I did sort of feel like we partnered with them
We have.
in the past, so this could be one where we
Go
the full
strong.
amount,
Okay.
would be a thought.
Alana and Sue, are you happy for the full amount?
I guess my only concerns would be that they're still sitting on quite a chunk of money from us for the first aid courses.
Okay.
Now they've spent about half of it.
Oh, okay.
And we have supported them a number of rounds in a row. So
Okay.
it's just whether we want to give someone else a chance.
So it would be
or-
reasonable
Yeah,
to
I mean,
give them
I
a
do
chance.
really support their work, but it's just to bear in mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go back to our 1,000 and come
Okay.
back to it.
Okay. All right, 1,000. Okay, they can come back in. At least, no, it wasn't really, it was, what, did you declare an interest?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Okay. All the mothers of young children. Yeah. Okay, we are now talking about the Cambridge Toy Library that are requesting $1,324 for zipper bags with storage of toys.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was quite good.
Yep, me too.
It's such a good. Were you happy for the full amount?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, Andrew was too. Okay, well, let's go with the full amount there. Okay, they can pop back in. Great. Yes, full amount there. Right. The Children's First Charitable Trust, who are asking for a contribution to the cost of running a Being My Best Resilience program in Cambridge for $2,000.
I saw that it's Waikato, or Waipa and South Waikato, but this does say it is in Cambridge, this project.
Started 1,000?
Yep. Yep, I did that too. Anyone else got any different thoughts? Okay, 1,000. Right, Citizens Advice Bureau Cambridge, who are requesting $450.43 to purchase new appropriate computer chairs.
Yes, I 100% support the full amount.
Buy them 4 chairs.
Yeah. JP's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Cambridge, Destination Cambridge for the Cambridge Christmas Parade. They're requesting $1,500 as the running costs. I thought full amount for this.
Yep.
Yeah. Elise, thoughts on this one? Full amount. Alana, happy with the full amount? Obviously, we can come back and just watch your mic.
Community event.
Yep. All right. So, yes. Please. Yes. Come back when you can. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yep. Right. So now we come to Hotapu Sports and Recreation Club, who are wanting $2,500 for assistance with the club room ablution upgrade to include a new disabled and unisex toilet.
Certainly supported in principle. And that needs a huge upgrade. It's just whether we can afford the full amount.
1,500.
Have we got a total? Or have we got a running total?
I think that wait till the end because we'll go back and go back. I think, should we start with 1,500? How does everyone feel about that? We can come
I
back.
support the project because, I think Leamington said they've got 40% females in their club. And if you don't have good female toilets or unisex or disabled, it's a bit of
Yeah.
a disgrace, really. And
Yeah.
a lot of women play rugby these days. So got to
Mm.
get them behind that.
The accessibility element as well.
Should we go 2,000?
Yep.
Start with 2,000. We can always come back.
Room to move.
Yeah. Okay. Interlock Trust, who are asking for $2,000 to assist with funds for required components with the introduction of an additional half-day course. They have asked for 2,000.
Certainly support the principle.
Yes.
Yeah.
15.
Yep.
Andrew?
Yep.
Need more than that?
1,500.
Okay, Elise, Lana, happy with the 1,500? Again, we may need to come back and just look at that. Right, Karapiro Waka, who are asking for security camera and flood lighting funding of $777.57. First thoughts?
I'm happy with the full amount.
Okay.
Full amount.
Full amount, Andrew?
500.
Well, the full amount's only a couple of $100 more, so let's just go full amount and then we can come back and look at that. Okay, kids in need. So this is you, Philip? Yep. I think our best practice is to leave, I'm afraid. If we've started that, we need to carry on. It'll only be a second.
This is Waikato. Did it specifically say Cambridge in this one?
Yeah, they didn't come and present this time historically.
No,
they've
they
presented
normally
every
do.
time
Yeah.
Around in the past. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have a voice. So,
Yeah.
I think they are usually busy all the time.
So full amount? Yeah, I am too. Andrew, happy with full amount, $1,000? Lana? Yep, okay. All right, you can let Philip back in. Right, La Leisure League Cambridge, who are asking for assistance with funding to cover a baby bonanza at the Cambridge Town Hall for families to sell secondhand goods, baby goods. $500.
This idea.
Yep.
I think
Full
it's
amount?
really- Yeah, that was cool.
Okay.
Supporting in
Yeah.
its entirety. It's not about generating income for them. It's just about creating a cool opportunity for
Mm.
families to connect and yeah, but it was great. So I was full amount.
Full amount, yep. Lana, happy with that? Yep. All right, full amount it is. Leamington Play Centre, who have asked for $5,000 to build a new fence around the playground.
Well, the fence is kind of okay, but there's just some laws changed so the kids can now, doesn't meet the new specifications. So
Mm.
I was like, how many kids have actually escaped? I thought let's just reduce.
You only need one.
Reduce heavily, 1,000 for me.
1,000. Any further thoughts around 1,000?
I mean, I'd love to go higher because I feel like play centres just operate on the bare bones of goodwill and lots of
Volunteership.
parents just putting their hands up to support
Mm.
what is a very equitable place for little people to socialise and parents to socialise and a safe environment, even if it is a technicality, is really critical to peace of mind for parents in those environments. And they're operating probably under quite challenging what's what I'm looking for, like health and safety requirements, which they just don't have the money to
Yeah.
meet. So this is the kind of thing I'd be really keen to, if we've got a little bit of coin
Yep.
at the end, to support more fully, because I think
Okay.
it'd be hard graft getting us that money.
What kind of dollar are you thinking? Half? 2.5?
Yeah.
2.5?
if Not 3.
Okay, should we go put 2.5 and then we'll come back and look at that to add some. Okay, Leamington Sports Club. Field renovation requirements, 4,700. Yeah.
Certainly support them in a couple of grand, 2 or 3 grand.
Okay.
Can I clarify, sorry, I might have missed this, in the presentation, it felt like they were talking about maintenance this round versus renovations. First, don't know if, and I should have asked the question then, if they'd changed what they were asking for, or does anybody have any thoughts on that? Could just be that.
Yeah, I just. Whether we can tell that.
Yeah.
As a point of clarification, field renovations are a maintenance component. So there's not a full restructure of the field. So they spoke about potentially doing that at some point in time. They delayed that because there was a point in time until our financial position became clear that they might have been up for a field improvement program. That's not the case. So what they're currently doing is looking at a field renovation, which is essentially field maintenance. But it's above and I suppose a field renovation is above and beyond your classic mowing and things like that. So
Just to follow up to that, and you might know the answer as well, Brad. So just to clarify, is it to keep their current level of service or to increase capacity?
essentially to keep the current level of service. I suppose, yep, to keep it current.
They had said that the Waipa Council did have some thing in their long-term plan that's been removed. That's kind of left them struggling with the growth aspect of their club, and so they just need a bit of money to do whatever they can to deal with that. Support, a few grand there.
Yeah, I'd second that. I think it's probably falls under a similar bracket as the Hautapu. And like, we want to support them similarly in dollar amount, so.
2,000?
2.5. Oh, what do we put down?
Hotapu, we put 2,000.
Yeah, happy to at least put that.
Yep. Everyone else happy with 2,000? Right. Philip, we need to excuse you again for Rotary. And Sue. Rotary. Urban miners who have requested $3,000 for funding for recycling of Cambridge Household Batteries project.
Great project. Happy to start the numbers rolling at 1,000. This one.
At least, what did you say? 1. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that because some of the other projects help people, and this is is environmental a little bit.
Yeah.
Less pressing.
It's a chicken and egg thing, isn't it? Alana, you happy with 1,000?
Happy with that as a starting point.
Okay, but to review. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't know. The Japanese could just chuck it in the rubbish in Japan. It's just what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Waikato Screen that requested $2,000 for a day in the life of film workshop led by local filmmaker Matt Hicks. And they've requested 2,000.
I mean, I have heard that guy Matt Hicks, he's been in the paper, but he's doing some interesting things. But for this, I was a 0 because I thought, looking at the information provided.
0.
I had thought something, I thought 500, support the arts a little bit, but happy to be for the majority.
Similar rationale to you, Joe. Thought it's good to support community art projects, but about a lower amount, like a $200
Okay. 250?
donation
Yeah.
or 250.
Yeah, he had one of his films a couple of years ago.
$250? Alana?
If you're gonna go that low, I wouldn't bother.
Okay.
I don't, if it's like 500, I'd be happy with, but
Okay.
lower, I don't
All
think
right.
it's worthwhile.
Should we put 500 and come back? Yeah, yep. Because the money's there, and if we just put something, then at least we can. Okay, I'm just gonna run through them all so that how much did you have? Claire?
you've currently allocated 25,552. So you have a remaining $3,899.23 if you're looking to allocate the full amount of the 29,151.23.
How are we allocating the full amount? Do we need to keep just a little bit of a buffer depending on we don't know what's around the corner?
Yeah.
We have a lot of committed funds set aside, but not, yeah.
Do you want to keep $2,000 for a project and filter that other 1,000 through, or?
Yeah, how much we got left, sorry, Brent?
Sorry, did you say 25?
3,899.
You have 3,899.23 remaining.
I'd be in favor of two or three grand just to keep.
To keep?
And aside, but,
All right.
happy to be moved on it.
Okay. Andrew, thoughts about keeping some money? Yeah,
$3,000.
keep
retained.
$3,000. And then we put that last nearly $900, filter that through. Lana, you happy with that? So happy keeping 3,000? Okay, good. All right, let's run through it and let's relook at everything. A reminder, if you have declared an interest, please don't comment. Right, Cambridge blind and vision impaired. They asked for 1,000, we gave 500. Everyone feeling happy about that? Men's shed, they wanted 5,000, we've given 2,000. I'd be almost happy to give them a little bit extra here. 2,200. Okay, 2,200. Cambridge gymnastics, they wanted 5,000, we've allocated 1,000. Everyone happy with that? Yeah. Cambridge kids playgroup, they wanted 2,000, we've given them 1,000.
I'd be keen to up that one to similar to the.
Another
play
200.
centre, the
Yep.
Open Play Centre.
Okay, good.
The other placing, we've got 2,500.
Okay.
Which they're not asking, so.
Yep.
We take it to the full amount. Do we have enough room there or not quite?
No.
Allocating them 1,200 gives you remaining 3,499.
That's, but without our 3,000 out for our future projects, eh?
So that would make.
So essentially $500 left over.
Okay.
If you keep them at 1,200.
1,500 before?
No, we had them at 1,000.
Oh, 1,000, we can't get them to 1,500.
We can, it just means that anyone else further down the line.
Can we try getting them up there and then we can
Yeah.
always balance out with Leamington Play Centre maybe? No, things like that, yeah.
What's your next one? 1,200, 1,500?
Yep. Okay, life skills, they asked for 3,500, we've given 2,000. How much have we got left, Brad, sorry? 200, okay. That was the only one that I was like, was wanting to top up. Mm.
So what about the one that needed to upgrade the fences?
That was Play Centre.
Just give, oh, right, so let's give them a couple hundred more. Well, you only got 200.
Well,
I back you, Joe, as a chair.
we've
If you want to
got-
put some more in one, that's your call.
Well, we've got 200, so
My recommendation is Leamington Play Centre, the
Okay.
fence.
we gave them half of what they wanted, but with life skills, we gave them, we gave them 2. Yeah, over half. Okay, let's go through and we'll just earmark that 200 for the end and we'll just come back. Right, netball centre, they wanted 1,500, we gave 1,000. Is that the right amount?
I think it's
Yeah.
maybe a little bit high.
I think it is
if
too.
We're really trying to fight for every last dollar.
Yeah.
Even if it's.
Do you want to do 800?
750, something along those lines.
750?
Because we're kind of landing at about half what people have
Yes,
asked.
yes.
So I think it's perhaps important always thinking about what they're requesting and making sure our proportions.
Okay.
Yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, 750, okay. Cambridge PTA, we didn't give anything. Everyone's still happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cambridge Rowing Club. They wanted 1,600. We gave
Bring that down to
1,000.
800
Yep,
as well.
I think so.
800 is good.
Instead of 1,000,
800 or 750?
800.
It's 1,600 they're asking.
Yep, so we're going to give them half. Safer Community Charitable Trust, they wanted 2,000, we gave 1,000. I'm happy with that. Yep. The Toy Library, we gave the full amount. Do you think we need to shave that down just a tiny bit?
Possibly could take it to the
I
1,000.
think so.
Sorry. Oh,
Oh, yes, you can.
sorry,
You
I
can.
can't say that.
I'm feeling to bring that one down to the 1,000 and just spread it a little bit.
I'd prefer to keep it full.
So Alana, you want to keep it full? Oh, and Alana's got a conflict. Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Keep it full.
Okay. Children's First Charitable Trust, they wanted a 2,000, we've given 1,000. I'm happy with that. Citizen Advice, we gave the full amount of 450.43. Christmas Parade, we gave 1,500, the full amount. Hautapu Sports, they wanted 2,500, we gave 2,000.
Couple $100 more.
Makes them closer to the full amount.
yeah.
We've given the Cambridge Netball Centre
Yeah.
half the amount.
I'm happy to leave them where they're at.
They're in dire state. They need repairing. Big time.
I think all of these groups are in dire needs at the moment.
Financial state, honestly, the actual facility they're trying to do up are in dire.
Yeah. Okay. Interlock Trust, they wanted 2,000, we gave 1,500. Do you want to go 1,000?
Yeah, I'd be comfortable.
1,000? Yep. Just so we can look at what's left and then perhaps go the full amount for some people that we really want to support, perhaps.
First iteration.
They do, yeah. I'd leave it at 1,500.
Okay.
1,500 now?
Yep.
1,500, my recommendation.
Right, Karapira Waka, we gave the full amount of $777.57. Kids in Need, we gave the full amount of 1,000. La Leche League, we gave the full amount of 500. Leamington Play Centre, we gave them half of what they wanted at 2,500. Leamington Sports Club, they wanted 4,700, we gave 2,000. We could up that a little bit with some of our what's left and go to 2,500. Yep, 2,500. Okay. Rotary wanted 3,000, we gave them 1,000. Do we want to top them up? 500? 150?
With that 1,000.
Okay.
Okay.
And this Waikato Screen was 2,000, we gave them 500.
Yep, no more.
You have $149.23 left.
I would
If-
really
if
love
you
to
wanna
give
keep
that
it
to Life
3,000.
Skills and top up Life Skills because it's the need is there. 2,149. Every dollar counts. Every dollar counts. Right. So let's have a look on the screen.
The only comment between Hautapu and Leamington, given Hautapu 2,000, Leamington 2,500. Sorry, yeah, Leamington 2,500. I know they're asking for bigger things, but are we comfortable sitting? Yeah, I think it probably should be somewhat even there.
Have they
Even though
both
they're
got the
asking
same
for
number
bigger
of members?
Things, just not sure.
Talking club size or are you talking financial size? Club size, right.
Okay, so do we just want to check? Debs, do you want to go for the top and we'll just make sure that everyone is okay with what we've got? We're all on the same numbers. Okay, so blind and vision, 500. Men's shed, 2,200. Gymnastics club, 1,000. Cambridge Kids Playgroup, 1,500. Cambridge Life Skills, $2,149. Cambridge Netball 7, 750. Cambridge Primary PTA, $0. Cambridge Rowing Club, 800. Cambridge Safer Trust, 1,000. Cambridge Toy Library, 1,324. Children's First Charitable Trust, 1,000. Citizens Advice, 450, 43. Destination Cambridge Christmas Parade, 1,500. Hotapu Sports, 2,000. Interlock Trust, 1,500. Karapira Waka, 777. Kids in Need, Waikato, 1,000. Valencia League, 500. And Leamington Play Centre, 250. Sorry, 2,500. Leamington Rugby Club, 2,500. Rotary Club Urban Miners, 1,000. And Waikato Screen, 500. And that leaves $3,000 for future projects.
I just wonder if we needed to make some adjustments between gymnastics and netball centre. Just giving $1,000 to gymnastics, $750 to netball centre. I think arguably the participation rates would be much higher at netball centre.
100%.
So I think we just need to balance that out. And I wasn't sure where we landed around.
Oh, yes.
Leamington and Hotapu.
We were going to come back to that.
And equalize it a little bit. I suggest we look at more again.
Okay. All right. Should we go? Should we take the netball centre up to, well, what are your thoughts around the dollar figure? Do you want to take the netball up a couple of $100?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just going to have to show you some.
Yeah.
Maybe switch around. So maybe it's 750 gymnastics.
Okay.
1,000.
All right. Let's do
Just
that.
reflecting the community.
100%.
I don't know how everyone
Yeah.
else feels about that.
You make a very good point. Yeah. Okay, so now we have Cambridge Gymnastics Club at $750 and we have Cambridge Netball Centre at $1,000. Now, did you want to talk about the two clubs, sports clubs?
Do a 2,250 each club.
Yep, 2,250 for each club. All right. So it's the same. I think that's sensible. Right. Does anyone have any further thoughts, questions, considerations before we sign this off? Everyone happy? Lee, Sue, Alana, you folks? Okay. Mike's happy? Yes, right. Okay, so I am going to move that we firstly receive Joe's report on the allocations and I was just said it. I don't have to do this all separately, do I? No. Okay, and that we receive the report on the funding allocations and allocate 1 to X as documented. And I'll move that and can Mike Montgomery second. Thank you. Mhm. Yes.
Destination Cambridge.
Yes. Yeah. So it was A to W that we were moving, not A to X. A to X. I moved that. Mike Montgomery seconded. All in favour? It's important. Great. Carried. Thank you. Right. Let's move on. That was good work, everyone. Great. Right. Proposed 2025 meeting dates. If you can have a look, we have 19th of February, 19th of March, 9th of April, 21st of May, 18th of June, 13th of August, 10th of September. The 9th of April one is slightly different. That has been moved out of the school holidays for those of us who have children and had them at home during that time. So that one's moved just slightly out. Everyone okay with those dates? Yep, great. Okay. Great. Philip's going to move that. Alana's going to second that. All in favour? Great, thank you. Right, board members' reports on meetings attended on behalf of the Cambridge Community Board. Can I start with you, Philip? Remember, it's just meetings you've attended on behalf of the Community Board. We'll start with you, Philip, and we'll go around. Yep, that's all right. Okay.
Zone 2 meetings, regional meetings, it's still fifth time of year. Normally here, but it was last week at the Hilton Garden. It was great, really great opportunity for all the councillors.
Is your mic on? No.
All the councillors and mayors to get together. There's no community boards there from any local bodies and anything like that, just to point out. So there was DIA, they were there talking about the water reforms and everything. They're also with us today, updating us on that. Louise Upston was there talking about government updates and everything like that, which was really good. There was also the Election Commission discussing around 4-year terms versus current terms, and 40% of local governments, local body governments want to have it to 4 years, and central government's actually supporting it quite well as well. So between the two, local and central, over 60%. Just out of interest, per ratepayer, it costs the councils about 50 cents. 50 cents to local body have to pay, and to the Election Commission, costs them 50 cents each per ratepayer to get all the promotion out there and all the papers and everything out there. At a general election, it's over $4, and that's the Election Commission. We don't pay for that, I think. So, yeah, that's about it really for me.
Okay, thank you.
It was a pretty wet day. We did get out onto the new cycle track. This was held at the Hamilton Gardens, the new cycle bridge, near the Peacocks Bridge there, the Tiara Bridge, and then there was a tour around the gardens as well.
Lovely. Right, thank you. Andrew?
Usually I go to the Safer Cambridge Trust meeting, but I couldn't attend, so Alana will give an update in her thing on that. Thanks very much, Alana. I attended the seniors, I think it was called Seniors
Yes.
Forum,
Yes, thank you.
facilitated by Roger Gordon and another gentleman, I can't remember his name. It's a group which is like an overarching seniors group, and they're going to take, not by general membership, but by representation of other senior related groups in Waipa to form a group to deal with senior issues related to the Waipa District Council. So that is advancing. I think that was the result of the meeting. And just last week, we just had the first Lake Karapiro Master Plan and Management Plan meeting. It's just an introduction, but it's just kicking off now. So any feedback about that on your top of your mind, it's through to Michael, myself. And that is all. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mike?
Okay, there are two big hot topics in council at the moment. One is the LTP, and you as a group are reasonably up to date. It was really good having the finance team here. It's an extraordinarily difficult LTP. Probably everyone is often using the word unprecedented, but you're up to speed. You know what's happening there. The other thing is the waters piece of work that Philip alluded to. I mentioned this last time I was here. That's advancing steadily. So we have this requirement to produce our water service delivery plan by September or something next year, which shows how we are going to sustainably provide waters both in a physical sense and in a financial sense. That work is proceeding quite well. We've had 2 workshops over the past 2 days on that. The good news is we're in a reasonably good space. We're mostly passing the sustainability tests as a standalone water entity, okay? And so that's that part, but in parallel, this other piece of work, the Waikato Waters Done Well, is proceeding. And that's, you know, looking to form a CCO, a council controlled organisation, to take over the waters business in some shape or form. Hamilton City Council have indicated that they are going alone as a CCO, and that leaves Waikato Waters Done Well sort of pursuing the option of putting together all the other territorial authorities in Waikato to do a CCO, okay? So it's still at the exploratory stage, but it's that piece of work is moving along. The next step will be for the councils interested to sign a heads of agreement, which means that they'll consider continue the pathway of exploring this, which sort of starts drafting the documents and the transition provisions that would facilitate this, okay? Now, if this is going to happen, the 2 things kind of are going in parallel, okay? Because you've got to show that you've got a sustainable water service delivery model, and Waikato Waters Done Well is part of that, because you have to consider options as well. You have to show that you've considered options. So Waikato Waters Done Well is one of the options. So there's kind of no commitment to what we're going to land on, but our starting point is that we're looking reasonable as a standalone, but we're exploring the options of these CCO options, which could be better, okay? So that's part of what we have to do. So it's trucking along. There's kind of, I have this feeling there's really low community understanding that this is happening, that when 3 waters got thrown out, everyone just thought that was done, and it's not. Local Waters Done Well, which is the new 3 waters, is essentially the same thing, but without the compulsory nature of it. Now you're being encouraged to voluntarily form CCOs in your area, and we're DIA, as Philip said there today, and you know they're very much of the view that you can either do this voluntarily or it'll happen to you at some point later on, because the long-term sustainability of water delivery is really blooming hard to do for standalone councils, especially small ones. So the work is happening, but we've got to start talking about it much more and raising community awareness that this is happening. It will be something that gets consulted on because it's a really, really, really big change for Waipara. We have $1 billion of water assets. And if they are going to be transferred from direct council ownership to a CCO, you know, it's a really, really big call. And it's a really big call that'll, you know, it's a real legacy issue. It'll last for a long time. So we're about to start sort of talking about it more, but really good for the Cambridge Community Board to know about it. It's coming. There'll be kind of public awareness campaigns starting. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So anyway, you want to keep your eyes on this because it's a hot issue. It became a hot election issue 3 years ago at a national level. Hasn't gone away, and it's something that Cambridge Community Board needs to fully understand. So I'd be suggesting that as this develops, we probably need to get the waters people in front of you, like finance were today, so you're hearing it direct from them rather than me.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much, that's the 2 things to update on.
Okay. Thank you.
But just on that, these meetings are all live. They're not publicly excluded. So you can jump on board and listen to our meetings as well.
Yeah. Right. For me, alongside quite a few of you, I went to the Ahuaki community engagements. Some were really well attended, like the Cambridge Farmers Market, others less so, but that was okay. There was still a lot of people who wanted to know about the project, and I was particularly interested that Cambridge Connections came through so strongly at the farmers markets. That was a good one for us to remember, that it's front of mind for our community. Our armistice celebrations went really well attended. I went to a Chamber of Commerce event introducing our new CE, Steph O'Sullivan, which was really good as well. And obviously the LTP workshops that I've attended every single one, and there are still a lot of information, and yeah, I'm doing my best, but it was really good to have the finance guys come here and hear it straight. And I definitely agree, waters should be the next one for sure. Yeah, that's me. Lana?
Thank you. A lot of the same as you. Autumn Festival ticking along, obviously like everyone else at the moment, struggling for funding, but it is what it is. Bihoro and Lukenwa meetings are continuing, both debrief and planning for the future. The GCNZ forum at Lake Karapiro a couple of weeks ago, that was really good. Probably not as many people there as we would have liked, but still some really good conversations, and hopefully some things that we can take forward. The Safer Communities Trust meeting, I mean, some of that was a little bit covered before, but their funding requests are ongoing. They've had some great turnouts for some of their most recent events, one at Mangakawa and one at Wordsworth Street. They've got a podcast that they're doing as well, which would be interesting to have a listen to. They reported that the cemetery gates, that's going a lot better recently. They think that's maybe due to a change in contractor. And the community patrol is going really well. They've got a couple of new volunteers coming on board, so that all helps. Car crime still continues to be a big issue in Cambridge and Waipa. Yeah, and they had a little update on the first aid courses there as well. So approximately 100 people trained so far and continuing. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So, Armistice Day, thank you to all those, sorry. Armistice Day, thank you to all those who attended. I think we had a good attendance. And a special thanks to our RSA and the military community who literally run so tight. Absolutely brilliant. And thank you also for marking the anniversary of the liberation of Lekomoa. That was another special event. The Christmas tree lights will be going up on the 28th of November. There's a few Waipa networks. They rang me this year, I didn't have to ring them, which was really good. They've got it right down the calendar, so so that's good. So I'm very happy about that. So that'll happen. They'll be there for, just after the staff go back after Christmas, they'll bring the lights down again. So, and I think that's about, they switch on about the same time as Christmas festival. Works quite well.
Thank you, Sue.
BBC World, I watch regularly and get finished. In New York, there's a Christmas tree about the same size, and it's got millions and millions of lights.
Well, we could have millions and millions of lights if we could find someone to pay for them.
That's true. Since we were here last, Street Harvest had another location installed on Princess Street, which looks quite amazing. And we've got another location lined up for adjacent to Circus Eatery, which will be in the new year. That's cool. Also attended the Aoaki public engagement, and I was unable to attend the Leamington playground upgrade meeting where they were presenting a draft, but I spoke to Bonnie and she sent it through and I provided some feedback. I wasn't able to circulate it to the board at her request because it is still in its draft state. But all that to say, they've worked really hard to take on board the feedback from the community with all that early community engagement, but also the community board, and she specifically referenced feedback that we had provided in our submission, including water play. Alana, I'm sure if you remember that comment, hey, water play would be great. and that features really strongly in the playground design. There's nothing like it in Cambridge. It's going to be, I think, a really special piece of work, which is really exciting when not much special projects are happening. It's really nice to know there's something that's going to pop up and feel quite cool. So yeah, that's exciting. I guess just a mini update on that Christmas tree decorations, trying to upgrade our wreaths in time for our next install. Probably not going to happen, just a little bit tricky and slow, and did have a conversation with Alana around whether we do an inventory, but then the next board might not want to continue with it at all. So our Christmas decorations will look the same. Yeah. That's it from me.
Thank you. Right. Okay. And we'll move on to the date of our next meeting, which will be 6 p.m. on Wednesday, the 19th of February next year. I know. Let's do our closing karakia. Tipo hihiri, tipo rarama, tipo o te whakaro, tipo o te tangata, tipo o te aroha, ko ene napo, I here nei I a tātou, mauri ora ki a tātou, humie, hue, tākie. That's the end of our meeting.